Rochester, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan. Rochester, an Odyssey sports station.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Ambers. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
A very good afternoon to you, and welcome on into the Sports Bar, Danger and Battaglia. We are glad you're with us and listening along this afternoon at 95.7 FM, AM 950. All of our platforms, including Odyssey, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, our YouTube stream, streaming on Twitch every afternoon from 3 until 6. Follow us at The Fan Rochester. I'm Danger. That's Battaglia. Gotcha.
From the High Falls Studios, where I forget the on-off button.
No, that's on me.
No, it's fine.
I still have a little camp brain, a bittersweet day in the sports bar. We talk about the grind that is Buffalo Bills training camp for everybody that covers the team, for us who are there doing the show live every day that the team is practicing. It's bittersweet. It's bittersweet because it's a grind, but it goes by really, really fast. It goes by really, really fast.
It does, and it's our taste here in Rochester of what it's like to have kind of a major league team in town, even though they're not playing games, to have that sort of access. And you're talking about one of the most relevant teams in the most relevant sport, the NFL. So it was a fun nearly 3 weeks for us, Danger. Years ago, you and I would do the show out there.
On the last day of camp.
On the last day of camp, we realized, what are we doing here? There's no one here. And if you went to camp today, when I tell you, wow, they moved it out. Sean McDermott's regularly scheduled press conference at 9:15. Nope, I'm starting that 20 minutes early. No problem. No problem there. Team was off the field. I swear players were in their car by 12:30 today.
It's almost demoralizing when you get to 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock the afternoon of the last day of camp, because you just realize how quickly they get out of Dodge. I mean, they have the moving trucks there. You know, starting yesterday, they had the moving trucks there. They were there this morning. They're loading everything up with haste, and they are gone. They're back to Orchard Park. They're ready for Saturday. And by the time we get off the air on Thursday, in years past when we were there, we're like, it's sad. It's demoralizing. It's like, it's done. And at least this way, we left. There was still some activity. They were tearing things down, but
Yeah, and unlike other years, we're like, boy, I think they're going to come back. Do they like us? I'm so insecure.
They're coming back.
They're coming back. There's no deal in place now, but the year-to-year thing, Danger, I think this is the time where they're going to say, no, we're here for, 5 years, somewhere in that ballpark? That would be my expectation.
I keep going back to the same point that, we've been making once we saw the premiere of Hard Knocks on Tuesday night, and you saw how good St. John Fisher looked and how good the Bills looked and how good they've been. And they're not the only team. The Chiefs are another great example of a team that goes away to camp and they use it, to build a culture, to build a family environment. And not only that, like how much goodwill do you receive in the community when you do the things that you see Josh Allen do every day after practice, or you do the things that you see Landon Jackson do today after practice? We're reaching out to less fortunate, reaching out to the sick kids, reaching out to military, to those in need, incorporating them, making them feel special because they are special and because they do matter and they do mean something to this community. The Bills, they work it. They know exactly what they're doing, and they do a great job. It feels genuine. I'm going to choose to believe that it is genuine, that they're not just doing it because it's part of their gig, that they actually do care as much as they do when they are in our community interacting with the locals.
That being said, I got a text last night from Bankley. Oh, nice soft knot. Soft knots.
Yeah.
I just watched. I'm like, okay. The difference between this Hard Knocks and every other Hard Knocks everyone's ever seen, there's actually a real contender. Their name is the Buffalo Bills. Every other Hard Knocks has been a team that has had some problem. That's why they got tapped on the shoulder.
We mentioned it at the beginning of camp. A few days into camp, I think, is when we kind of said this, that training camp is kind of boring. That there isn't a ton of storylines. That camp is boring, and that's exactly what the Bills want. The Bills don't want the storylines. They don't want drama. Now, episode 2 is going to change everything on Hard Knocks. I think you'll start to see some of that drama, and we certainly feel it with the James Cook hold-in. The injuries are also a factor. But knowing that the team has some editorial control, and Sean McDermott telling us yesterday, I kind of watched over it, made sure that we were being portrayed the right way, that some of the players that were involved were being portrayed in a positive light. That's not really his job, but it's not really the job of a head coach to worry about how a star player is being portrayed, but he cares enough to do that work, that added work, because it is important for the culture of the team. It is important to know how a player is being. Like, if you think of AJ Epineza now, are you going to think of anything but him capturing pythons in Florida?
When we see Deion Dawkins, are we a little concerned about drifting?
Drifting isn't safe. We've been saying that all along. But at least it's a controlled environment. At least it's a controlled environment, and it sure seems like his kids enjoy doing it. But yes, you have now a little peek into how these players live their lives off the field, and I think McDermott admitting that he has some control over that and wants to see it and make sure that they're being portrayed in the positive light. I don't know what fans expect. If you're going to call it soft, you can call it soft. That's fine. But again, I view it and I'm like, I dare you to hate this team. I think that's my takeaway was I dare you to hate the Buffalo Bills after you watch Hard Knocks. I don't know that you're going to walk away from that series.
Oh, dangerous. Stop.
Somebody will from Kansas City.
Kansas City, that's what I'm hearing from Binkley. Like, oh, please. Please. That was – and – look, in fairness, if we saw something like this with the Chiefs and Mahomes and we're having a good time, it would be like, ugh. Yeah.
I give Binkley credit for watching it. I wouldn't watch anything with the Chiefs. I'm so tired of that team. That's all that is. I don't disrespect the Chiefs. I think we're just all tired of the Chiefs.
Oh, no. They invent the disrespect. You disrespect.
I know.
Like, we're not disrespecting you. What are you?
We're disrespecting the team that, was going for a three-peat. Yeah, that was us disrespecting the best team in the league for the last, decade or so. That was us. Get out of here. So it's a sad day with camp coming to an end, at least the Rochester portion of camp coming to an end. But we have a preseason game on Saturday to look forward to. We have today's practice to react to. Sean McDermott, in his press conference today, had some interesting nuggets, and we can listen to that here, and we can kind of dissect it.
Before we do this, I think because people might be saying, what happened with James Cook? Because you're going to hear the first quote from McDermott here, and it comes off like saying, oh, he's going to be back on the field. But all I think this is just coach speak ultimately. This is somebody that maybe McDermott wasn't told by James Cook himself today, hey, I'm not practicing. You're going to hear, like, McDermott at the end of this kind of couch this. So, everybody, if you didn't hear, the James Cook saga continues. And, Danger, I think you and I, we're not going with some of the national people that are saying, oh, this is close.
They're local people, too.
Yeah.
There's local people, too. I've talked to local people that think, I think they're close. I think they're close. I believe that they're close. I'm like,
okay, you and I are thinking, well,
I don't really see it. What I see is him holding in because they're nowhere near close. What I see is a player who, if we interpret him the right way, we would believe there's no way he wants to make less than what the 7th highest paid running back Kyren Williams in the league is making. So the Buffalo Bills would have to pay James Cook north of $11 million a year. And I just don't know that the Buffalo Bills are going to do that for a player who's not on the field for more than 50% of the snaps.
So if James Cook is asking for 15, I think we'd all say no. However, if the Bills aren't willing to go north of Kyren Williams, what are we talking about?
I don't think they should go north of Kyren Williams.
You don't?
I don't. Look, James Cook is an efficient runner. He's a very good ball carrier. He's a better running back than Kyren Williams, but he has yet to shown that they can trust him for 3 downs. He's not going to make that kind of money, and Kyren Williams is that guy, and he's making 11. So there's still a prove-it kind of thing that James Cook has to do before he gets the kind of money that he wants to make.
I think James Cook would love to be out there 3 downs. I think that's kind of like you have Davis and Ty Johnson, and I would take those who would disagree. Yes, admitting our Bills bias, Kyron Williams or Cook / Johnson / Davis. You're taking the trio.
Well, I think what you have in Ty Johnson is somebody who's a specialist. He's just a third down specialist. He's really, really good on third down. Why would you take that off the field? What, to give James Cook a chance to prove that you can trust him? I don't like chances. I like certainties.
I think that James Cook, a fresh James Cook in the postseason, was a huge factor. James Cook running away from defenses in Detroit in the month of December. Is it worth the $3 million if that's the gap just to make this go away? If you're Brandon Beane and Terry Pagula, I mean, it feels like we're willing to give you the money as long as it's not the top of the market. And that was the case with Rousseau and Bernard and Shakir. $12 million isn't the top of the market here.
No. It's more than Williams.
Right.
But I still think anything north of 11 for a player that's not out there for 50% of their offensive snaps feels like a mistake. It feels like an overpay.
To the credit of McDermott and every player, nobody has misstepped when talking about this.
And Josh Allen had his back. We'll get to Josh Allen's press conference here later this afternoon in the Sports Bar. Before we give you Sean McDermott's press conference from this morning, early this morning, great show lined up with you. Ryan Talbot in New York Upstate. They have a great event happening tonight, the Shout Podcast on Park Avenue. We're going to talk to Ryan about that. We're going to get his thoughts on camp. He'll be joining us just after 4 o'clock, less than an hour from now. We will also be joined later this hour from News 8 Sports Director Thad Brown, who joined us after practice today from camp. We'll get his thoughts on the Rochester portion of Buffalo Bills training camp. That's coming up here after we check in with Sean McDermott. This was his press conference. You mentioned it, Gino. He wasn't messing around. 9:15 scheduled? No. He got this going at 8:55. We got to get things moving. Sean McDermott earlier today. Here's his press conference on the Sports Bar.
All right, we'll get started. First and foremost, I want to thank St. John Fisher, President Rooney, their entire staff. Again, first class, tremendous hospitality. This has become our home away from home to some extent, and at times it's a little sad to leave here, to be honest with you. They're so welcoming in all that they do, and make it easy for us to come here and transition and build our team. So also the Bills staff, Andy Major, Ryan Moore, Brendan Rowe, Matt Worswick, Eric Behan, and many others that have helped us when we've been up here, get transitioned up here, while we've been up here, and then also transition back. Jeff Mazurk and his staff as well. And then Bills Mafia. Their time, some of these people are taking off work. A lot of them are. Their energy and helping us build this environment that we've had out here every day has been nothing short of amazing. So much gratitude to them, and we get ready to transition back to Buffalo after this practice and head into the weekend's game. Injury-wise, I'm sure you guys are interested. We've got 10 out today. Sed Van Pran, Max, Alec, Khalil, Cole, Curtis, Caden, Shaq, Tyler Bass, and then Tylen Grable is in concussion protocol as of after yesterday's practice. So that's a new addition. With that, I'll take your questions.
John, you talk about how beneficial it is to be here. You've been doing this for a long time. You do this your whole career, no matter what job you had coaching-wise. How much better are you at getting what you want out of being here for 2.5 weeks than you were maybe when you started here with the Bills as the head coach?
Well, I think anything you benefit from experience, and this is no different. You know how we operate here, what we want to do, and from a vision standpoint, in terms of what we want to get accomplished here. I think all of that helps, and certainly the staff and the work that they've done, the work that they've put in. They've worked extremely hard also. Coaching staff, training staff, everyone been very urgent with their approach. Not that they haven't been in the past, but it's been very noticeable. Great team effort this year.
Sean, are you expecting James Cook to practice today?
Yes.
You are. Is that have you had conversations with him? What's led to him being out there today?
Well, everything for any player is, I expect every player to practice every day. If that remains to be seen whether or not he's going to be here or not. But I'm hopeful he will at some point here.
Has he been in the building all week?
Yes.
Has he participated in walkthroughs?
Yes.
Understanding that the business is that business side, how do you go about the situation from your perspective, coaching-wise?
We move forward. Yeah, we move forward. It's an opportunity for somebody else to step up, show us what they've got, and the team moves forward. That's the nature of the business. It's you get these reminders from time to time that it is a business, and but at the same time we've got to move forward as a football team, and that's on an individual basis and a team basis. So we care for Jimbo, we care for him and his family, and we look forward to having him back. We'll see if that happens today.
How do you balance knowing him as a person as well as you do that, along with the frustration of not having him?
Yeah, I mean, like anything else, you guys have heard me talk tons about respect, and whether it's relationships or when you're dealing with situations like this, it all starts with respect. I have a ton of respect for him, and the position that he's in right now is not an easy one. That said, we have to move forward as a team, and I'm sure he respects that.
What is your plan for Saturday as far as starters go, and particularly Josh?
Yeah, Josh will not play this week. The starters, the ones will play, give or take one quarter, and then it'll flow from there.
With Tyler still not kicking, is there a plan to bring somebody in, or is Ray kind of handle those responsibilities?
Yeah, we had a workout last night. We'll see where that goes. We have our eyes on one of the two that we worked out there, and that's we've got to get someone that can kick this weekend here for us.
Is it going to be Mitch to start?
Sorry?
Mitch to start on
Yes.
Friday?
Not Ray Davis kicking on Saturday.
He may a little bit. I don't want to give away any secrets strategy-wise at this point. New York's probably listening. So, but Ray, I think it's good for Ray to get a little bit of as an emergency kicker during the season, to get a little bit of maybe a little small warm-up or maybe an extra point. See if we can score and get an extra point there for him.
He said he told everyone that he could kick. Were you part of that group? Ray Davis. He was lobbying for it.
Yeah, I was very aware that that he had the kicking shoe ready to go. I just don't know how. Like, let's say he scores this weekend, we may have to literally throw his shoe out to him. He's going to have to get it tied. We probably should get Velcro, the old G.I. Joes, the Velcro.
Get a shoeless kicker.
That's
Pops
right.
the shoe off, go old school.
That's right, old school. That's probably how you kicked back in the day.
Sean, just one more clarifier on James. You said he's been doing walkthrough. Has he been all team meetings and
Yes.
stuff like that?
Yeah.
Sean.
You said the starters would play a quarter?
Quarter.
Something.
Give or take.
So for somebody like Mitch, if he's needed to play, would be with the starters, right? Except at the end of a game. How important is that for him to be in game circumstances with your starters?
That's huge. I mean, it's that's part of the plan, I guess I would say. Certainly want to be mindful of Josh, mindful of any starter, any of our players. We never want to see them get injured. The benefit of this is we hold Josh out. We keep him in a good spot. He's been playing extremely well in camp. You guys have been out here, and then we get a chance to look at Mitch and some of the other quarterbacks and real game live action with the ones, in this case for Mitch.
A little too soon. Will Spencer be part of that starting group, or is he...
Probably a little bit too soon. I don't anticipate him being out there. We'll have a number of guys that are on our injury list that do some warm up and then they're in pads, but they don't play. So
One of the names you mentioned is still sidelined today is Cole, and obviously last summer, a lot of the same with him not being available. How do you get a player like that, who there are expectations for this season, ready when he has been unavailable these last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I mean, we do everything we can to fill the gaps, right? Walkthroughs, extra walkthroughs, making sure that he's ready to go. And the other guy that's not on this list actually is Taylor Rapp will not practice. He'll be out, give or take a week at this point, so dealing with a knee. So you brought that to mind when you asked about Cole. The hard part here is we feel like Cole's starting to come back, and it sounds like Taylor's going to be out for the I think roughly a week, give or take, and so that, as you've heard me say before, like Micah and Jordan, they're glue. They're, hey, I saw it this way. Yep, I saw it that way as well. Kind of that invisible language, I guess, right? And that connectivity is not there yet, and we're losing time here with those two in particular. That said, DeMar has been playing extremely well, so we'll see where that goes.
Is that the same knee for Taylor that he missed time with a week ago?
Yes. Yeah.
What's the, I guess, timetable or prognosis for Curtis Samuel to get back on the field?
I feel like he's moving in the right direction. He ran a little bit yesterday, so we just, it sounds like he's feeling most comfortable moving straight ahead. The cutting piece and whatnot is still a work in progress, so I don't know for sure. I don't have a date in mind, but hopeful because he is making some progress here.
This is the second straight summer that he's dealt with something that has kind of knocked him out of camp. So how do you move forward, assuming he's going to be a part of the rotation there for you? How do you move forward with him trying to get him?
Yeah, like I said before, you close the gap every way that you can with walkthroughs, extra mental tests and whatnot. The fact remains, though, it's an opportunity for somebody else. With all these guys that are injured on this list, or other guys that are limited, it's we don't want to see that. We don't want that for them. They have to do everything they can to get back in an urgent manner, and yet it presents an opportunity for somebody else to show us what they've got and step up.
Understanding it's fluid. Does Khalil's injury feel like something that should have him back before the regular season? Like, do you think that he will be available when you guys are ready to go?
Yeah, that's what I'm being told. He's dealt with this before. It just takes some time to get back. The thing that makes me a little bit at ease with that situation is his rapport with Josh, and Khalil is such a professional that I don't worry at all about his hunger to return or his ability to find ways to get himself back and up to speed as quickly as possible.
Sean, you've switched things up over preseasons regarding Josh. Do you anticipate you'll see any action this preseason?
I don't know. I'm going to take it on a day-by-day, week-to-week basis, John. We'll see where it goes. I'm in constant communication with Josh, and part of it too is how he feels, right? But I also have to make sure I protect him the best that I can. So it's he always wants to be out there. Believe me, he does. He's highly competitive, as you guys know, and he wants to be out there with his teammates. So I know this is not easy for him in that regard, but it's the right thing to do.
Sean, with James, kind of already spoke about it a little bit, but Brandon mentioned that this is the first time down here that you guys have dealt with something like this. From a head coaching perspective, how have you approached James and the team as you're
Yeah, as far as my relationship with James, we've had good communication, which I appreciate. The line between a coach and a player, to me, is a little bit different than what goes on on the other end of things, right? Just with business, right? So to me, it's important that we stay seeing eye to eye in terms of our relationship and our communication and our ability to communicate. And James has done a good job with that to this point, and I think that's important as we continue to move forward here.
Sean, you were talking about one player's injury, and then you kind of stumbled upon, somebody else is hurt too. That's pretty telling. Do you feel like this training camp, there's been even more injuries than maybe in the past?
Nate mentioned to me last night, he said, the list has been a lot longer than in years past. So injuries come up. They do. They come up at different points in the season. I think I'd rather have him now than in the playoffs, right? So that's my hope at this point. That said, I am concerned with, like I've said, some of the pieces being out there together, especially some of our newer players, our younger players. You try and just, it's hard to show up in this league first game of the season and be ready to go. That's why this, things like training camp, things like going away, things like practicing against other teams, preseason games, it's all important.
What have you made of Tre'Davious White's training camp?
Very solid, very solid. Again, going back to, the way he finished the season, even I think he's playing. He looks healthier even now than he did back then when he played against us, and every day he's out here working. You know him. He works extremely hard. He's a pro. He's extremely competitive. It means a lot to him. I mean, running hills, like I've said before, that's not something that was for the cameras. That's what he does. And I have a ton of respect for that, and so do his teammates.
Sean, you've spoken highly about Tyrell Shavers before, and you talk about injuries. He had one, and he got back quick, and the way he's been playing. What have you seen, and what shot does he have?
He's tough. That guy is tough as nails. I mean, he is tough, and he has an ankle sprain, and he's back in the second or third practice, and he's out there limping around. I mean, the red and blue. In the warm-up period, he's running a slant, catches a ball one-handed, kind of still limps off. But he is tough as nails, and he's a true Buffalo Bill in that regard. And he continues to make progress, continues to make plays. The trust factor with him is just goes up and up every year.
Sean, the decision to move on from Balin.
Yeah, tough. I mean, that's here's a young man that is a really good person, really good player, and availability though is key. And unfortunately, our numbers are down at linebacker overall right now, and so when we have another injury, sometimes it gets tough. Just from who's going to play in the preseason game, we've got to play special teams as well. So that's a little bit of a numbers issue, and we'll see how it moves forward as we go here.
You mentioned multiple times you're going to be younger on defense and rely on some of those rookies in particular. How have you felt about their growth up to this point in camp?
Yeah, I've felt really good about it. I think the coaches are doing a really good job. We've got quite a few young players up front that are they've been fun to watch grow and develop, albeit a short sample to this point. We'll know more after Saturday's game. But looking forward to watching them and seeing how they grow and seeing how they take on the challenge.
And Oliver has had a pretty consistent camp. How have you seen him progress this offseason?
Yeah, very consistent, Maddie. Honestly, like in my own mind, walking around campus, I have these thoughts, and it's about my biggest one has been about Ed and his development. I mean, it gets me emotional. Ed Oliver came in here and was this wild horse rider, no pun intended. I mean, he loves horses, but on the field, he would drive the offensive line crazy, his own offensive line, our own offensive line, because he would just go 100 miles an hour in practice, and he would scare me because he would get near Josh at times, and I would have to warn him. I've kicked him out of practice, and that has not happened one time this year, and I think it doesn't mean he's not as intense, not as competitive. He's actually playing better, and then he's just matured and grown and become more and more of a professional every season, including this training camp. And I mean, that again is one of the joys of coaching and teaching, I'm sure, for a lot of teachers out there. You watch these young people develop in more ways than one, and it's emotional.
When you talk about players developing, whether it's someone new or returning, has anyone surprised you this camp and just the way that they've grown?
I think the whole team has grown. That's not a cop-out. Can coach answer for you, coach speak, but I really do. I think we've had a good camp. I didn't think we were where we needed to be at the red and blue a week ago, and these guys have focused in and made some huge progress this past week, these last 3-4 practices. So I very much appreciate that, their focus, the leadership, the intensity. Even yesterday, coming off a day off, those are usually days that are hard to get them jump started, and they come out ready to play.
Mitch starting the preseason game, is there anything you've liked about his camp specifically?
Yeah, I mean, the thing I love about Mitch is he's mobile. He's played varsity snaps. I have a lot of trust in Mitch, a lot of belief in him, and he's faced a ton of adversity already in his career and his journey, and he remains steadfast in his belief in himself, and he should. He's got good skill, and the players respect and trust him.
I gotta get a little emotional hearing him say nice things about my friend Mitch Trubinsky, my friend. Yeah, he's had some trials and tribulations in his career. He got undressed by his head coach on national TV. Aside from that, I'm sure his confidence is fine. He'll be good. He'll be good on Saturday.
be fun on Saturday, right?
Of course.
I want Ray Davis kicking everything on Saturday. We don't need a kicker. We could say this because McDermott mentioned this. You and I saw them trying out kickers last night. Couldn't report on it last night, but now that McDermott told us and now that they're gone, we'll have.
They had a couple guys out there.
Yeah, so they're going to sign somebody, but are we concerned about Tyler Bass or no?
I'm not. And, look, we'll with kickers, or you don't. They either have it or they don't. We'll know right away. Does he have it? Is he same old Tyler Bass? Is this injury a lingering thing that'll bother him through the season? They're not going to chance it. They're not going to risk it if he can't go, if he's uncomfortable.
I think the time you pick up a kicker, because there will be a few teams in this league that are going to have tough decisions. Do we go with the kid that's doing great, but or do we cut the high price guy that we know is reliable? There will be guys final cut down that you'll be able to pick up.
We're learning about the special teams unit because it's kind of turned over. Brad Robbins, is the holder, is the punter and the holder. So it's going to be different regardless of whether it's Bass out there or not. And Bass maybe has a scapegoat if it doesn't go well. Well, it's a new holder. It's just different. Or it's a lingering injury. What do you guys want from me? But we'll be able to tell fairly early on in the season just how serious that injury is, how much it's affecting his ability. I'm not too worried about it. And if it is affecting him to the point where he has to sit out a few games, you just bring in a guy like they did yesterday. A couple of guys right there behind us practicing kicks in the rain. It was raining. It was raining. So good, get them trying out and working out with some elements. We'll see what eventually pans out there for the kicking game for Saturday's preseason opener at Highmark Stadium against the New York Giants. And we learned that Jackson Dart will get reps. Josh Allen will not, but Jackson Dart will get reps on Saturday. We don't know if we'll see Russell Wilson. We don't know if we'll see Jameis Winston, the two quarterbacks ahead of Dart on the Giants quarterback depth chart, but there is one guy that I'm fairly certain we will see, and it's only fitting that he comes to Western New York during the preseason. I'm talking about Tommy DeVito. He's going to get some snaps because he's Italian.
This linebacker the Bills signed, did you see him, Jimmy Charlo?
Yeah, I saw Jimmy Charlo.
He looks like a Jimmy Charlo.
Yeah, he's a Jimmy Charlo. What you think he's going to look like? Because he's Italian.
Thad Brown.
Yeah,
News 8.
We'll get to Thad Brown, News 8 sports director. Get his thoughts as training camp winds down from St. John Fisher. You're in the Sports Bar. Danger and Battaglia on the Fan.
You're listening
Time at St. John Fisher in 2025 has come to an end. The team breaking camp today. Looking ahead, it's Bills and Giants coming up on Saturday. Sean McDermott says Josh Allen's not going to play.
The benefit of this is we hold Josh out. We keep him in a good spot. He's been playing extremely well in camp. You guys have been out here. And then we get a chance to look at Mitch and some of the other quarterbacks and real game live action with the ones, in this case for Mitch.
11 a.m. for our coverage Saturday here on The Fan. We'll talk to Thad Brown, News 8, coming up next here in the Sports Bar. 3 games in the NFL tonight, including the Indianapolis Colts playing the Baltimore Ravens. The Rochester Red Wings down 9-1 today. A rally falls just short, 9-8 the final in Norfolk. Gene Battaglia in the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Neat or on the rocks? It's the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
Welcome into the Sports Bar. Danger and Battaglia, we are back. It is the final day of Buffalo Bills training camp here in Rochester at St. John Fisher University. And as we like to do every year at camp, a check-in with News 8 Sports Director Thad Brown. Thad, I mean, interesting camp to say the least. Some interesting storylines heading into the preseason. But before we start, everybody's still talking about Hard Knocks from Tuesday night. I want to get your impression of what you thought, because we as close to the blast zone as we are, I think we all kind of eat it up. It's catnip for Bills fans. But there's a lot of people outside of our region, outside of our fan zone. It's boring. What is this? Soft Knocks? What's your take on Hard Knocks episode 1?
Is that a criticism? Soft Knocks?
Yeah.
Are people talking about it
Yeah.
that way? It's funny you talk about being close to the blast zone from a Bills fan point of view. For me, from a TV production point of view, the open I loved. I mean, the music, the way it was edited. I texted Pat Harris, the lead director who's from Penfield, who a lot of us have talked to at this point, and I said that was one of the best music opens I've ever seen. Before I watched the episode, I stopped it, paused, rewound, watched the open over again. So, number one, that was the thing in terms of Hard Knocks. Not only that, but the way Rochester and Pittsford and St. John Fisher just visually looked so beautiful. So, I mean, you expect that from NFL films to get pristinely shot things, and we got that in spades. That was fun. In terms of the content, I think, number one, if you had said to me a few weeks ago, who do you think the stars of Hard Knocks will be for the Bills? Maybe Josh Allen, Deion Dawkins, and Trey White, and that's what we got. So, not a surprise there. The other thing, too, is unlike the Bears last year, a team that was – they picked first overall because of a trade, but they weren't very good. There are holes. There are questions. You don't have that kind of level of question with this team. So it's hard to come in and, take that one little scar from last year and really pour some vinegar on it like a documentary can do and explore it. So I think we got what we should expect. Does it equate over the duration of the series to your typical Hard Knocks, drama, storylines? It may not. This might be a more boring than others version of this. We're going to get James Cook, assumably, in the second episode, which will change the whole dynamic of that for sure. But I think part of it was I like the fact we got to see the Bills, who they are. I think the fact that there wasn't a whole lot edgy should be expected. This was a team that seemingly went kicking and screaming into this to begin with, so they're not going to volunteer anything they don't have to. So I think from that point of view, Soft Knocks, we might get that, but James Cook will change it next week.
Yeah, and that's where we're going next year. So Cook not on the field today. Sean McDermott kind of gave the impression, although he stopped short of saying he would be out there, but certainly it sounded positive until he wasn't. So what did you make of that this morning?
So I thought Sean McDermott kind of played it as we expect all of our players to be here every day. That's the general expectation. And from the point of view, the mechanism, what the rules are with the league, and if you're not here, you get fined. I think from the team point of view, officially, they have to say, well, yes, James Cook is under contract, and we expect him to be here, even if everybody knows practically what he's doing is what the players have at their disposal when it comes to expressing their contract displeasure. So although Sean McDermott started with, I expect him to be here, and my initial reaction, I'm sure like yours, was, oh, something must have changed. Everything Sean said after that about, well, we hope so, and it was caveat after caveat after caveat, and him not being here, frankly, was what I expected after I walked away from the full press conference. This is going to be a hard thing to fix, because if he had just not shown up to minicamp, not shown up to training camp, or held in, then you'd say, all right, well, for sure he has a number he wants. The Bills have a number that they want to pay him, and it's not close. And when those numbers come together, we'll fix it. Now there's a question of what changed over the weekend that got him suddenly to choose this route. It may still be numbers, and numbers may still be the solution. But now there's the question of what other thing happened that changed his mind. Everything was hunky-dory. I'm here for the team. I want to, guys want to win a Super Bowl. I got to do my part. It looked like he was doing all the right things. And then all of a sudden he wasn't, and no one really understands why. And I know people want to put it on his brother. Well, when Dalvin Cook went through the same thing with the Vikings, I don't know if people realize this, he threatened to hold out, but he never did. He played all the way through camp. And, in fact, the Vikings at times pulled him out of drills kind of saying, hey, we appreciate you being here. We know you want a contract. You don't need to be in every leap and drill. So we're going to sit you down for some to try and bridge the gap a little bit. And eventually he signed a contract right before the season began. So people who are saying, well, he's just following his brother's lead. No, his brother's thing went way better than this is going right now.
I wonder, because I've talked to people that think that they are close. I think the Kyron Williams contract is interesting, being that he is now the 7th highest paid back in the league. And I don't think there's any part of James Cook that wants to be below the 7th highest paid back in the league. Do you think they're close? Do you think it is as close as some people believe? Like some of the insiders that are saying, well, the Kyron Williams deal was the deal that needed to get done for this to get. I don't buy it. I personally think they are not far apart, and this is going to be something that lingers through the course of the season, and he's going to have to ball out to get that money.
I'm generally right with you on that. I mean, the fact that the situation has gone south during camp tells me that they can't be very close. And also, some of the verbiage Brandon Beane has used doesn't seem to indicate. He talked about, it takes two to tango, that kind of thing. I don't get the impression they are close to the finish line on this. Now, look, contracts can change, or the demands can change at any time. James Cook could be signed next week. It wouldn't stun me, as well as this organization has treated and has handled their players. But this is going to be a hard one for a lot of different reasons. One, it's a running back. There really isn't. With Khalil Shakir, there's probably a second contract. Pass rushers like Greg Rousseau, there's probably another contract. There's another opportunity down the road. For running backs, this second contract is it. This is the ship coming in. So I don't begrudge him wanting to hold out for as much as he can. And, when Christian Benford and Greg Rousseau took what seemed like market deals, maybe a little bit below market deals, they're still making $20 million a year. Yeah. James Cook, like you said, to be the 7th highest paid guy is going to get 11. That's kind of the ceiling. So there's more at stake for a running back. There's less reward. So I really can understand him hard playing it. With the Kyron contract, by the way, if I'm the Bills, I would be okay with that if that was the James Cook contract, but that's probably the upper end of what I would be okay with. So if you're right, and I think you very well may be, that's not good enough for James Cook, we could be doing this for a while.
Thad Brown, News 8, our guest here as camp has wrapped up at St. John Fisher University. Storyline number 2 here from this camp, the injuries. There were more of them. Maybe some are really not that serious, but I'm sure there are a few. Which ones are you kind of monitoring here, Thad, as we go along here?
Khalil Shakir, I think, is the one. I mean, obviously Max Harrison, I think, is number one, but that's been talked a lot. The Shakir thing, Sean McDermott made it seem today like they were pretty confident he'd be ready for week 1. The question there isn't so much would he be healthy for week 1, but would he be healthy enough that they want to risk him for week 1? And obviously that's a huge game, but high ankle sprains are the kind of things that if you mess with them early, they last all year. Would you be willing to sacrifice 2 or 3 games of Shakir to make sure he is 100% for December and January? I think I probably would. Whether the Bills have to be in that situation remains to be seen, but that's the kind of thing I'm monitoring. If we get to the 3rd preseason game and he's still in a boot and doing nothing and not close, then I start to wonder if week 1 is a question, not because he couldn't do it, but because is it smart for him to do it. Harrison's the other one, and the Harrison thing, because he's going to miss camp, and Sean McDermott's talked about this a little bit, he's going through the same thing that Cole Bishop went through last year. And the NFL phrase with that is kind of like, if you miss time in training camp, the train kind of leaves the station without you. All the foundational stuff you do in this time to get ready to kind of understand the base defense and what you want to do, you can't make that up in week 3 when you're doing a game plan for the Dolphins. So Harrison being in that spot, I think, is frustrating because I'm sure similar to Bishop last year, the Bills had a number of plans for him that are either going to be significantly dialed back, if not scrapped altogether, and his rookie season is going to kind of become a, learn on the fly kind of thing, which on the bright side, Trey White has looked great.
Yeah.
But with Hairston, I don't think you're going to get all you probably could have gotten out of him, certainly if he was healthy.
Along those lines, since you mentioned Bishop, are you of the belief that regardless of his injury and the time missed here at this year's camp, that he will be the week 1 starter opposite
Taylor Rapp?
Taylor Rapp?
Yeah. By the way, this time of year, we all are, because we're concentrating on, linebacker number 7.
Yeah.
Remembering all the starters' names, I do that constantly. I think 85 to 90% yes.
Yeah.
The fact he got every single first-team rep in practice certainly tells you what the Bills want him to do. They want him to not only learn the defense, but learn it next to Taylor Rapp. Did he do well enough in those drills? Is he going to not miss so much time that it'll cause him a problem? I'm not sure, but I think more likely than not, he's the guy. DeMar Hamlin has looked solid. I think if he needs to play for whatever reason, you'll get what you got out of him last year, which wasn't great, but it was fine. Beyond that, there isn't really a safety that stood out. Jordan Hancock's getting a lot of work at it, but he's a converted nickel, so there's a position change going on there. So there isn't a whole lot of other options to where, we're not sure about Bishop. Let's play this other guy. The other guy isn't really that much better either.
Thad, no Josh Allen this coming Saturday. I think we're fine with this, right? So that being said, Bills Giants. Who are some of the guys, or who are some of the positions you're monitoring in this game?
Ray Davis, if only because I want to see how much the Bills risk him relative to what it says about the James Cook situation.
Oh, I want to see him kick though. They got let him kick.
That would be awesome too. Yeah. Well, Sean talked about that today. One of the concerns with that, literally, he brought it up was, well, what if he scores? Then I got to run him back on the field. And Ray talked about having his kicking shoe ready. So, do we throw the kicking shoe on the field? He does a quick change on the field and then kicks extra points. To be honest, I wouldn't be stunned if late in the game they run him out there for that. It's a perfect spot for it. The Bills are a team that certainly could afford to mess around with that kind of stuff. But he's a guy I want to watch for sure. TJ Sanders and Deion Walker, I'm interested to see the young guys. Even though it's live out here, there's only so live you can get, especially a guy like Walker, to where his job's going to be, taking a run play that's going for 4 and making it 1. How much can he do that against legitimate 100% full go situations? I want to see if Sanders can have an impact on the quarterback. We haven't seen a ton of that here, a little bit of flash for those two guys, so they'll be fun to watch as well.
Thad, do you think, speaking of Davis, we joke about him being the backup kicker on the depth chart, but do you think they make a move here? We haven't seen Tyler Bass kick in 2 weeks.
We're not to that point yet. They are bringing in guys to have a real kicker for Saturday, and that could theoretically be the move. One of the problems we ran into with Tyler Bass last year, and I don't know where you guys were on it, but there was a point in midseason where I said, the Bills need to find somebody else. But then you start looking around, there were a number of teams last year who had injuries, who had more pressing needs for someone else. And the guys they were signing were, average at best, not anybody I'd want to trust. So even if you want to look at Tyler Bass's injury and say it's a problem, you got to find someone who's competent enough to be here. And those guys just aren't existing. Watch college football for any length of time on a Saturday. 90% of those guys can't make anything beyond an extra point. So the Tyler Bass injury certainly is a concern. The Bills haven't let on anything that says that he won't be available for week 1. I don't think they will, but, we will see.
Yeah, Thad Brown, News 8, is our guest here. The future of this camp, I've never felt more confident, Thad.
100%. Couldn't agree more. The last few years since COVID, they've been going year to year, almost intentionally. With the new stadium being open, there was the thought that the Bills are pouring gazillion dollars into that stadium, so you want to get as much bang for that buck as possible, and that might involve bringing camp back. But, Sean McDermott, no matter what job he's had in his coaching career, has always gone away to camp with the Eagles, with the Panthers, and now with the Bills. And you know what an old school coach is like. You do something that works for you, you ain't going to change it for anything. So I think that's a big part of it. I think the Bills feel very comfortable with the facilities here. How many times have we sat here and had a conversation of, well, did the field look a little chewed up today? I don't know if the Bills, they had to move to the side field. They didn't have to do that once this year.
No.
So I think everyone feels really good with the relationship, with the facilities, with the situation. And really, too, it's 2 weeks and change. It's such a small part of the season. I think the benefits for the Bills, especially for McDermott, far outweigh any costs or any problems. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think we've reached a point now where – and look, when the stadium opens, there's a little bit of a hurdle that has to be passed there about when the new building is there before there is actual a multi-year contract that I know is being talked about for Fisher. We got to get through that. Separate of that, it feels like that as long as Sean McDermott is the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, their season will begin in Rochester every single season.
Yeah, Thad, and on top of that, given how well it looked on Hard Knocks, given the success that the Bills have had, would you be surprised if you saw more teams revert back to the going away to camp philosophy that teams like the Bills and Chiefs have never strayed away from?
I wouldn't be stunned if there was a small number, and maybe Hard Knocks pushes that a little bit. But one of the reasons we talk about the Bills going back to their own facility for camp is because their facility has a lot of money, but that money now has great facilities. Everything that you'd ever possibly want, recovery, medical, therapy, that kind of stuff. they've got the Taj Mahal of facilities in Orchard Park. So the thought is, why would you go to some Division III college for even 2 weeks of the year? And I think most teams have looked at that same question and said, we wouldn't. We're just going to stay at our facility. Now, most of them probably don't have something like this within, driving distance to make it worthwhile. I mean, a lot of the teams that do go away now go to other states, let alone out of town. So I just think practically it's a tougher ask for a lot of teams, and they're not willing to even explore the thought.
Innovative Field Walk of Fame. Thad Brown.
I forgot about that. Yeah, jeez. It's like
forgot about it.
No, I've had a thing to deal with here for the last couple weeks. St. John Fisher.
No,
but
how did they tell you? Like, is it an email, a phone call, or do they come in? And
Scott Petoni, I took the time to make a call, and I really appreciate him doing that. And super honored, very excited for it. Don't confuse forgetting with not being excited. You know how it is. When camp starts, life on the other end of camp doesn't exist. Except that I'm taking my daughter to college next weekend. So that has existed too. So when I get past all that, yes, then Walk of Fame. But couldn't be more excited. There are so many just incredible, legendary Rochester sports names that are on that walk. And to have, my name down there next to all those people, athletes, broadcasters, administrators, coaches who helped shape a lot of the work I've done for the last 25 years in this town. It is going to be a really, really cool event. I'm very much looking forward to it.
Thad, I imagine Buffalo Kickoff Live makes its return on Saturday. Tell us more about it.
It is now Bills Kickoff Live.
Look
so
at
let's get the name
this.
straight, fellas.
Very good.
We are doing a rebrand.
Very good.
We'll be back. Pregame show at noon. Starts on News 8 on Saturday. We're also, by the way, if you have Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, we have the new Rochester First digital channel, 24 hours a day. We've got all kinds of local programming. I do my own talk show. We're competitors now, guys, but we'll still hang out sometimes.
Is it every afternoon that
you're No. Mondays and Thursdays at 3. So
okay, so not every day.
Not every day.
Just Mondays and Thursdays.
We're friendly competitors. We're gently sharing this space.
That's right.
But yeah, Rochester First is the name of the channel. Please download it. But you can also see Bills Kickoff Live, both pre- and post-game, on that channel as well.
Thad, be well. Thanks for your time today, bud.
You guys too, man. Thanks for having me on. Good time.
Director joining us earlier today at St. John Fisher University as Buffalo Bills training camp has come to an end in Rochester.
Yeah, it was, while we're doing that, the moving truck was literally kind of backing their way out. They do not waste a single second. It's over. That's it. And again, we could do the show out there at Fisher today with no one around. No one.
I know that there were times where, and this is how quickly things overlap. I remember there were times where we would do the show on the final day of Bills training camp, and Fisher football would actually be taking the practice field the last day of Bills camp. Like there wasn't any overlap, but it was seamless. It was Bills are off the field, the Cardinals are on the field. Why be there and torture ourselves? It's already a bittersweet day. We just be like, it's sad that it's over. Sad that it's over. Happy that it happened. Great training camp this year at St. John Fisher.
Yeah, and we'll kind of be viewing more of it next week.
That's right.
And Hard Knocks. I mean, Hard Knocks, it's like, talk about that. It's pretty easy to write. How far do they go with the James Cook stuff? That's the fascinating stuff. Do they actually put the agent on? Like, they could veer off here and show totally. Will we learn more to the story? Or are we just going to get standard stuff?
Going to be great. Next episode Tuesday, right?
Tuesday, 9
o'clock. Ryan Talbot, NewYorkUpstate.com, covering the Buffalo Bills as camp winds up. He and Matt Perino from the Shout podcast have something planned for later on this evening. Gino, I know you're planning on supporting the guys
I will
and
be
showing
down there
up
helping
there.
them.
So down on Park Avenue, we will talk to Ryan about his thoughts on camp, the James Cook situation being fresh on the top of our minds, get his take on Hard Knocks as well. Ryan Talbot, the Shout podcast, NewYorkUpstate.com, covering the Buffalo Bills. Joining us next on The Fan Rochester.
WPTF Rochester, the sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. The Fan, Rochester. Sports update.
Wrap on camp for the Buffalo Bills at Fisher in 2025. A team moving back now to Orchard Park. Josh Allen talking about the end of camp.
I think we've come together pretty well. I think what our defense is doing right now is it's going to be pretty tough for quarterbacks and opposing offenses. Guys are flying around. They know their assignments. And then offensively, again, just adding the pieces that we've gotten over this offseason and just trying to get them up to speed with us. Yeah, and just trying to go out there and play our best ball.
Allen will not play in preseason game number 1. James Cook's hold in continuing today. Bills and Giants, 1 o'clock kickoff this Saturday here on the Fan Rochester. We'll talk more Buffalo Bills football coming up next. Ryan Talbot, NewYorkUpstate.com to join us. The Red Wings are down 9-1. They rally just short, though. 9-8 was the final today in Norfolk. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, the Fan Rochester.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Ambers. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
Very hearty good afternoon to you as we welcome you back into the sports bar. It's Danger and Battaglia live from our studios at High Falls as Buffalo Bills training camp has concluded. At least the Rochester portion of training camp has concluded from St. John Fisher University. But that doesn't mean that we're done talking about the Buffalo Bills. On the contrary, we've got the preseason opener coming up Saturday afternoon at home against the Giants. And, of course, there's plenty of underlying headlines and angles that we want to unearth with some of our favorites. In fact, Ryan Talbot and Matt Perino are in town tonight doing a live version of the pod, the Shout Podcast. We will talk to Ryan about that here in a second. He joins us now, and Ryan, just because I feel like we've asked everybody since Wednesday what their thoughts were on Hard Knocks. You're not immune to that, buddy. I want to get your take on episode 1. What'd you think?
Yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I was a little bit surprised there was no James Cook drama. We learned from the people at Hard Knocks that they actually submitted on Tuesday. So I thought that headline, James Cook details, but I think they went with more so introducing the players maybe to more of a national audience, which I totally get.
Ryan Talbot en route to Rochester. We wanted to get you in studio today, Ryan, but we'll see you here tonight. The James Cook saga. I mean, what's interesting about this is you have people that are saying, hey, we think they're close. You have people that are reading this completely different. And let me just clear the dance floor. Where do you think they are right now from where you sit?
Yeah, I still think there's probably minor details to work out. I think a lot of it probably comes down to the guaranteed money. I know Kyron Williams' contract with the Rams is supposed to kind of play a role in maybe what James Cook will take, but Cook and his agents seem to have kind of thrown that $15 million number out there. With the Williams deal coming in at $11 million, the Bills probably have a little bit of leeway now to say, see, this is the market right now. So it'll be interesting there, but I will say his agents have pretty much said that, this is a situation where he wants to be a member of the Buffalo Bills. We
will not see Josh Allen, or at least we won't see him on the field come Saturday. Do we need to see him at all this preseason, Ryan?
We don't. And I know a lot of Bills fans kind of respond to that news today, bummed out, only preseason game in Buffalo on Saturday, and he won't play. But you'd be a lot more bummed out if he wasn't available for week 1, a meaningful game. So this is a quarterback that knows everything he needs to know. He doesn't need any of those reps in the preseason. I think the Bills are playing this smart, especially when there truly is a quarterback number 2 competition going on.
You just led me to it. Are we neck and neck here? Does White have an advantage because he's a little more affordable? How would you assess the competition so far, Ryan?
Yeah, I think it's been pretty neck and neck for the most part. I think Mike White's slightly ahead from everything I've seen this summer at training camp, and obviously saving a couple $1 million if they let go of Mitch Trubisky could work in their favor. But there's things to both of their games that they do well. Mitch Trubisky is more mobile of the 2 quarterbacks. He has a better arm. Mike White, however, I think his accuracy is better. He has a little bit better awareness and feel of when to get the ball out. So those are the things that the Bills are going to have to weigh here when they make those final decisions.
Yeah, I'm so curious as to how they go about determining the value of certain players and how much input they get from Josh Allen. Let's face it. I mean, Josh Allen is the engine behind this team's success on the field. Do you think there's a conversation being had where it's, hey, your buddy Mitch Trubisky or James Cook in the backfield, or your buddy Mitch Trubisky or an extension for Cybo next offseason? Like, do you think that that is going into Brandon Beane's thought process when he determines who gets what?
I'm sure he keeps Allen in the loop when it comes to what he's going to eventually do at quarterback too. But I will say Allen seems very close with Mike White now as well. He seems to be able to have great relationships with every quarterback that comes in here. You could say Case Keenum the year before that, obviously go down the line of all the backups that have been here, and he seems to have a really good rapport with them. So I don't think he'll ultimately say, keep my good friend Mitch here over Mike White. But, going back to what you said about Brandon Beane, he does need to think about the financials when it comes to every player, including Mitch Trubisky. If you can save a couple $1 million now, especially where the Bills are cap-wise, that could help them potentially with, James Cook. It could help them in season, too, closer to the trade deadline, so they have a little bit of money to play with if they need to make a move.
Yeah, as far as another player that I'm assuming because his contract, or maybe they figure a way to get it off, not available again is Curtis Samuel. Ryan, when he made that cut in the Bronco playoff game, it's like, oh, okay, that's why Curtis Samuel is here. But what are your thoughts here? I mean, is he a lock because of the contract to make this, or do you think there's a potential that the Bills may move on here?
The contract definitely makes it very difficult for them to move on, so I lean closer to lock than anything else. I do wonder, though, if they could persuade another team into trading him, where you trade him and a early day 3 pick and you get like a late pick back, because then you're getting millions in cap savings. You're not getting hit with the dead cap. Trading him is definitely the much better option than just cutting him outright. Now, I don't know if they'd be in the spot where they'd want to do that. Brandon Beane values draft picks, obviously. But, again, it's time to get creative. And unfortunately for Curtis Samuel, this has been 2 summers in a row now where he's missed a ton of time. And the Bills really need people to be available, as we've seen this summer with a lot of injuries popping up. So it hasn't really worked out well for him to this point.
Right, and who's interested in acquiring a player who's hurt? I mean, I'd say the same thing about Balin Spector, who was waived yesterday and, could end up back with the Bills if they wanted to put him on IR for the season. If nobody claims him, I don't think anybody claimed him today. I hadn't seen anything.
I think by 4 o'clock today. Yeah.
So I mean, you hear them talk about ability or availability all the time. I just don't know that. I love the idea of unloading Samuel for a late round draft pick if there's a team out there that's willing to make that play for a player who seems like he can't stand the field.
I don't think it's a late round pick. If I'm hearing you correctly, Ryan, you would have to basically. You're buying cap space, basically. It would be Samuel plus, say, a 5th you would send to the team, and you're going to get back a 7th, something like that?
Correct. Something along those lines, where you're enticing the team that maybe has the cap space to bring a player like that onto the roster, where then you get the cap savings in return.
Ryan Talbot, NewYorkUpstate.com. A lot of injuries here, Ryan. Some notable. Which ones do you think are most concerning as the Bills have broken camp here, Fisher?
Well, I will say the one I would have said was most concerning was Khalil Shakir, just because of his importance to this offense and Josh Allen. But Sean McDermott today did note that it looks like it's trending where he'd be able to play in week 1. Obviously, we don't know if that will be the case until that game takes place, but that's reassuring. I would probably go with, though, the safety room right now, just because you have both guys banged up. Taylor Rapp, obviously when he's healthy, he's been great in this system, great in this defense, but he plays such a physical style that he seems to either get himself banged up in that regard, or he has these little nagging injuries. And now we're sitting here year 2 of Cole Bishop, where both summers he really hasn't been able to do much because of injuries. Now, with more and more time passing, I don't know. I could see it being Damar Hamlin again, week one, and then once he's more comfortable and back for a few weeks, maybe then shifting gears. But, Bishop's lost a lot based on his inability to be available.
Ryan, the rookies on the defensive line, the free agent acquisitions on the defensive line, the offensive line, I mean, in the trenches for the preseason, how do you evaluate? What do you look for when you're watching these games to see? Like, aside from obviously the big plays, if you see TJ Sanders getting to the quarterback, like that's notable. If it happens frequently, that's notable. Deion Walker, stuffing, running backs at the line of scrimmage. Is that the kind of stuff you're looking for out of these players?
Yeah, I mean, those are obviously some of the things you're looking for. Do they open up lanes for the linebackers? Do they make it easier for the linebackers to kind of zip in and make plays? Landon Jackson, for instance, how does he look where he's probably working against other teams' third-team rosters based on the depth chart and where I have him right now? Those are matchups that he should be winning. So how is he looking against, quote-unquote, lesser competition? I still think there's a lot of work that needs to be done on his pass rush arsenal. So I want to see how he looks in those matchups. And then, one guy that I've loved all camp is Michael Hoyt. Unfortunately, he's going to be out the first 6 weeks. So I do want to see what he looks like here in the preseason against other competition, because I've come away really impressed with him this summer.
Ryan, I came away from listening to Sean McDermott's press conference thinking, oh, my gosh, we're going to have Ray Davis attempt an extra point. And to me, the fans would love it, and he's going to be your emergency place kicker. Why not give him a little boot? My question is about Tyler Bass. I mean, like, at what point does this become a concern? They didn't bring in any competition, but it's also notable that they're still, to this point, underwater on the contract, meaning if you release Tyler Bass, well, then it would cost you more, actually. So your thoughts on what's going on at the place kicker position here?
Yeah, when it comes down to the roster gymnastics later in the month, maybe then, if there's still a concern, they could bring a guy in that gets cut elsewhere to be that kicker for the beginning of the season. And nothing has seemed to indicate that would be the case yet. The fact that the Bills haven't looked to add anyone tells me that they feel like he's going to be good to go sooner rather than later. It will certainly be entertaining if Ray Davis attempts an extra point or even a short field goal on Saturday against the Giants. I mean, he has the leg. He made a 57-yarder in high school. But it's also a bit concerning that you don't have your place kicker out there. He was kicking some field goals blue and red scrimmage, but then you didn't see him out there other than a simulated play where he pretended to kick. You definitely want to see him out there before the game on Saturday, at least attempting a few and getting loose out there, you would think.
And Ryan, speaking on Ray Davis, I'm perfectly comfortable with the steady diet of Darrington Evans and Frank Gore Jr. come Saturday. But do you think, I mean, those are valuable reps for Ray Davis as well. I'm just worried about the worst case scenario, which would actually give James Cook a little bit more leverage in his negotiation with the Bills if something were to happen to Davis or Johnson.
Yeah, 100%. And, Sean McDermott today said most starters play about a quarter. If everything going on with James Cook, I'm probably maybe playing Ray Davis no more than 2 series. I think 1 series, 2 series, get him out there, put Ty Johnson out for 1 or 2 series. But then after that, like you said, make it the Darrington Evans and Frank Gore Jr. show. Let them kind of tote the rock. It was the special teams coordinator, Chris Tabor, that said it, where if these guys aren't going to make my roster, I want their film to be good enough to make it somewhere else. I hope they have that thought process when it comes to the offense and the defense, too, because these are meaningless games for most of the starters, but big-time moments in games for these players that are going to be looking on to latch elsewhere.
Yeah, I'm always curious to see who might be playing in the first half, Ryan, or conversely, what veteran we think is good might be playing in the second half. Those are little tells. Sean McDermott was asked the question point blank, who might have stood out to him, and he didn't go with an answer on that. But I can ask you, Ryan, like, is there a player, maybe an undrafted free agent, maybe a late-round draft pick, who impressed you at this training camp?
Yeah, one guy that was not anywhere even close to my radar that I came away impressed with was Jacob Bayer, UDFA center. He ended up getting a lot of opportunities this camp because of, Cedric Van Pran-Granger missing time. He won a lot of one-on-ones against some notable players. He was holding his own in that regard. Paris Shan started out really well for a DN. He faded a little bit once the pads came on, but he had some moments. There really have been some guys that have stepped up, but definitely Bayer for me, the center, the UDFA. I think he's definitely made his case to be a practice squad guy. And I think Van Prank Granger is going to be okay for the start of the season. But if not, that could be another thing, too, where maybe he's one of those surprise players that they have to keep for that backup position.
Are we going to see the Tyrell Shavers show on Saturday with the wide receiver room being as thin as it is right now and knowing that you have some guys that you probably want to preserve for the regular season? Is it all Tyrell Shavers and Christian Wilkerson through the course of Saturday?
Those two, Jalen Virgil, Gosnell, get them all out there. Let them show what they can do. But Shavers is in a unique spot too because of all the injuries and being so banged up. The Bills have traditionally kept 5 wide receivers, but they might be tempted to keep 6 with Curtis Samuel and the status unknown. Everything they're saying about Shakir being on track to play in week 1 is great, but he might not be at 100%, so you might want that extra body at the position. So guys that can contribute on special teams, even a Laviska Shenault, maybe he surprises these next 3 weeks in the preseason. Let them all go out there and compete and make their best case for if we need to keep an emergency player, I should be your guy.
Ryan, I think it's always a treat in the preseason to let's just see the other team. Last year we saw Caleb Williams, and I'm curious to see Jackson Dart here and the Giants here. What were your thoughts on Dart as a prospect?
I'm excited to see him. I mean, obviously, I hate when college prospects get compared to Josh Allen, which because of the Brian Dable connection and some similarities in their games, that's kind of been a popular choice where, he has a little bit of Josh Allen in his game. No one really has Josh Allen in their game because Josh Allen is such a unicorn, but there is a lot of fun and things to like about Dart, so I do want to see how he looks in his first preseason action coming up here on Saturday. Even though it's not going to be a full capacity house at Highmark, it's still going to be very loud when he's on the field, when the defense has a third down. So how does he handle that and look in his first pro action?
Ryan, we know that you and Matt have a special night planned for local Bills fans. Tell everybody about the live shout pod that's happening in just a few moments.
Yeah, we're going to be heading to Dorado on Park Ave. They have a great menu. If you've never been, I'm sure most people have, though. Come on out, get some great food there, great drinks. We'll start the event at 5:30. The podcast will probably start around 6:30. Plenty to talk about the final day, wrapping up all of training camp, and then looking ahead to the preseason.
Now, I get accused, and sometimes I do this, but I promise I won't do this tonight, of bullying my way onto your pod. But I'm there to support you tonight.
I was going to say you're probably more of the big timer in this situation. You're going to show up, Ryan and Matt will see you, and you're going to ignore them, and just because you're out with the executive producer. This is date night
Ryan,
for you.
I somehow convinced the executive producer, my wife, that this would be our date night, and she signed on for this.
You are a brave man to bring your wife on a date to a Buffalo Bills podcast. Let me tell you that right now.
That's the kind of negotiator that Gene Battaglia is.
It's Park Ave.
He
It's
just closes
Wingnuts.
deals. He closes deals. He closed the deal. Enjoy your regimented sex on date night, pal. After the Shout podcast, that's going to be a lot of fun. Date night. Date night with Ryan Talbot and Matt Perino. So we're looking forward to it, buddy. Welcome back to Rochester. Have a great time tonight on Park Avenue, and keep up the great work.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Ryan.
There's Ryan Talbot, NewYorkUpstate.com.
Sometimes you can't help yourself.
Date
can
night.
You?
Oh, date night. I mean, let's be honest. We're all adults, right? Date night. Date night is code for regimented sex. It's just that we'll put it on the calendar. When you're younger, it's baby making time. We're trying to make now. It's just like, okay, we still have some. There's still some fire in the fireplace.
When you get to living with 2 adult children,
I'm almost there.
Yeah, by adult children, they're 22 and 19. Date night might be just like, hey, leave me alone.
Leave us alone.
Leave us alone.
I'm pretty much there. I mean, like my little one is 16, but when her and my older daughter get going, I'm not getting a word in edgewise. They're running things, and yeah, I'm with you. Like, I'm fearful that they're going to live with us until they're in their 40s, just because it feels like that's the direction everything is going. But I will take a date night. I just don't want to take a date night with wings and a Buffalo Bills podcast. But that's you. You're a master negotiator if you're able to get the executive producer to sign off.
I am not a master negotiator because when we go to New York at the end of the month, we ain't going to my game. So
marriage, ladies and gentlemen, continuous negotiations. Sign up now for the electric chair. Enjoy your time at the MoMA in New York City. Ay.
Do you want me to send you some pictures?
Send a postcard like Linda. We'll put it. We'll put it in
Linda
the sports.
sending us a postcard from Ireland.
Yeah. Josh Allen spoke to the media after practice today as camp wound down at St. John Fisher University. It now shifts gears as the preseason gets underway on Saturday afternoon. If you missed the Josh Allen press conference, we will have that for you next. We'll replay that for you next. We'll also get to happy hour here in about a half an hour or so. We have plenty of time for your calls at 866-4326 as well. 585-866-4FAN.
update.
That's it. Everybody leaving back for Buffalo this afternoon. Buffalo Bills camp at Fisher in 2025 has broken. Looking ahead now to the preseason. Game number 1 coming up on Saturday. Sean McDermott confirming that Josh Allen will not play.
The benefit of this is we hold Josh out. We keep him in a good spot. He's been playing extremely well in camp. You guys have been out here. And then we get a chance to look at Mitch and some of the other quarterbacks and real game live action with the ones, in this case for Mitch.
We'll hear more from the Bills quarterback coming up next year in the Sports Bar. Bills and Giants, 11 a.m. for our pregame coverage Saturday here on the Fan Rochester. NFL tonight, there are 3 preseason games, including the Colts and Ravens on the NFL Network. Rochester Red Wings lose 9-8 down in Norfolk today. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, the Fan Rochester.
Pull up a stool and join us. 585-866-4FAN. 866-432-6. The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
It's always a bittersweet day, the last day of Buffalo Bills training camp from St. John Fisher University. It's Danger Battaglia here back at the studios at High Falls, where at St. John Fisher by now, I'm sure all the moving trucks have pieced out. They pull up stakes. They get out of there quickly. But we do have a lot to get to from today. No pads today. Last practice before they hit the field for a preseason opener on Saturday afternoon.
They were ready to go. Sean McDermott this morning, 8:55, 20 minutes early for the press conference that he held. And by the time noon happened, players are in the locker room. I swear by 12:30, there were players already heading back.
That's right. So camp has wound down here in Rochester. The scene now shifts back to Orchard Park, and it all gets underway with the preseason action coming up here on the Fan Rochester Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock. We learned today from Sean McDermott that Josh Allen, as you mentioned in your update, Josh Allen will not play in week 1 of the preseason. We did hear from Josh Allen after today's practice. Some interesting nuggets here that we wanted to share with you. If you missed it, this was Josh Allen earlier today from St. John Fisher University.
What's your thoughts on, I mean, we've asked you this every preseason. I know you want to get some time in, but just the caution of you not playing on Saturday.
Yeah, just trusting what Coach is saying, what he's thinking. He's the guy in charge, so following what he's saying. That's all I'm doing. And if he said play, I'd be playing. So that's how it is.
You played so many regular season games in a row, right? Have you, in the preseason over the years, learned anything about what to take out of that when you're kind of watching for a whole game?
Yeah, I mean, just staying in it, cheering on your guys. This is a very pivotal moment for some guys trying to make the roster and trying to make a living for themselves and their families. So I understand the gravity of these games and what they mean to certain guys, and I just want to make sure that I give them my full attention and a lending ear and a lending mind if they need it. And just trying to help out as much as possible.
You looking forward to getting a chance to catch up with Dayball? I know you guys have maintained a pretty close relationship since he left.
Yeah, love that guy. Obviously a Buffalo native, so I know that a lot of people here love him too. So yeah, it'll be good to see him.
Back shoulder balls that Keanu been look like they've been an emphasis in camp. How would you just describe the progress you've made with those back shoulders that Keanu from camp or beginning of the offseason to now?
Yeah, a lot of progress. I think going back and looking at the film from last year, not just with him but with all of our guys, and going back and studying some of the best guys to throw go routes, where to leave those balls. Giving our guys a chance, not throwing them out of bounds. Obviously, you see those long, deep throws, and it's just like, all right, it's starting to tail out of bounds, and can't. They say 99% of balls that go out of bounds aren't catchable. So I don't know who said that stat, but that's what it is. And just trying to give our guys a chance to make a play.
Connor McGovern mentioned last week that, especially second year as your center, he's taken on some more responsibility at the line. How can that help you in terms of him making some of those calls and then you confirming them? What process did you guys, building a relationship, but getting that comfort with him over the past year where you trust him?
Yeah, I trust him implicitly. He's a very smart guy. He's in the huddle. I trust what he's seeing, what he's thinking. He knows what he's doing. Yeah, he's a great player. He's a great human being. yeah, and I've got no doubt when he's making calls, you know, there's no corrections. He's seeing it and he's doing it. Yeah, he's very, very fun to work with.
Were you able to accomplish what you wanted to this camp, considering how many pieces were missing every day, whether it was injuries or COVID with the hold in and everything like that?
Yeah, I mean, guys are stepping up, making plays. You know, the opportunity to throw to maybe guys that I wouldn't have or haven't had in the past. You know, trying to get on the same page with 5 and 18 as well as 0. But yeah, guys did a great job of learning what they were doing. Going out there and executing, flying around. You know, our defense is flying around, making some plays too. So coming together as a team, that's what you want in camp, and I think that's what we did in terms of guys getting to know each other, meshing and gelling, and you know, hopefully we can carry that going over into Buffalo, into the preseason, and then ultimately start the regular season and try to go 1-0.
How do you weigh the Cook situation as a teammate and as a player?
Yeah, I mean, it's no doubt that we all want him out there with us. You know, I've got no say in what goes on behind closed doors, and you know, I'm a big advocate of everybody getting theirs and getting paid, and you know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and you know, that's kind of where it's at.
How has that impacted you during practice? Brandon said something to the effect the other day of how, you know, you and Sean are the two most impacted by it during practice. So what's that been like?
I mean, guys going out, it's no different than, you know, Khalil being out with an ankle. Guys are stepping up, making plays, and you know, it was good for Ray to get some of these reps and you know, getting on the same page with Ty again, who I think is our best third down back in the game, and just gives them a couple more opportunities. But you know, James is who he is, and he's one of the best running backs in the league, and he'd be crazy not to say we don't want him out there. We desperately want him out there with us, and hopefully something can get done.
Said he's still been in all the meetings. I mean, you guys are brothers, like you talked about. Is it something where he's kind of going through something, just putting your arm around him and just being there for him too?
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, there is this huge business piece to this game. It's the hardest part. A lot of people don't understand it. You know, he's holding out, he's holding in, whatever he's doing, and people want to. But hey, it's generational stuff. It's wealth for you and your family. It's you know, it's not a small chunk of change, and making sure that he's healthy and still going through the mental reps, and he's still doing that. He's a pro, and he knows what he's doing.
What's it meant for that group up front to have Spencer back the last couple of days? He really seemed to blossom last year.
Yeah, no, Spencer's one of the guys in the locker room that everybody kind of looks to for his mentality. He's a dog, and to have him back out there and just kind of like the quiet meanness that he has. He plays with a real chip on his shoulder, and you see it when he plays. And you know, we played our final Catan game last night, and he wasn't first, second, or third. I'll tell you that. So he was a little angry today about it, and I'm sure he threw around a few guys that didn't warrant it, but he had to get some anger out. So.
Sean said that the team wasn't really where he wanted to be when you guys practiced in Orchard Park, but he felt this last week you guys have really stepped it up. Well, what did you guys do to kind of catch up a little bit to get where you needed to be?
Just trusting the process, keep getting into your playbook, trying to stack days and just have good practices. That's all it takes. Guys being locked in and ready to go in the morning, and then, you know, during meetings being laser focused and trying to correct things that may have went wrong on the field. So I think it was just more attention to detail.
Is Galileo a general topic of discussion between snaps?
No, I mean, a few of the linemen and bet that I couldn't somehow fit the word Galileo into my mic'd up segment, so I figured something out.
Did you research him, or
it's just like, is that not common knowledge?
Just gave out a couple Ryder Cup tickets. Why was that important, or something that you felt like you should do?
Yeah, well, I know the Bills have had them for a while. Obviously, it's in New York this year, so why not have only New York teams and some of our Bills Mafia fans over there. Nate's he's a great guy. He golfs a lot. I don't know if you guys are on Instagram, but I believe his tag's Nate the Golf Guy or Nate the Golfer. One of those. And you know, he's got a good swing. So it was a cool moment.
Josh, Sean said that Mitch is going to start the preseason game. What's been your impression of his offseason and training camp so far?
Of Mitch?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mitch is every day he's the same exact guy. He knows who he is. He works extremely hard. He's doing everything he can right now to continue to improve. And I love him. I love all of the quarterbacks in our room. We've had such a great year and a half together. Mike got here last year, and then obviously Shane has been here for 2 years now. And it's a very good group. All of our attitudes and personalities kind of mesh well with each other, and we love coming to work each day and hanging out with each other. But yeah, he's just putting his head down and working as hard as he can, and he's making some good plays out there, and hopefully we can roll that into the game on Saturday.
Obviously, he's someone you've known who's here earlier in your career, and then came back. Like with Mitch specifically, what is your relationship like with him? Like he's obviously seen a lot of different things in this league. Like what's it like having? What is he like? I guess in your relationship with him.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of his football, he's played in a lot of really big games in his life, and to have somebody with that experience who's seen those things, and he's been around a couple offenses, and having that mindset and that knowledge, it's a great tool for me. And then off the field, we're pretty buddy. So it's, I'd say the same thing with all three of those guys, but we hang out a lot. Quarterback dinners are a thing that we do during the season, and get to hang out with each other even more than we already do, because we spend so much time together during the season in meetings and walkthroughs and practices and more meetings, eating lunch and breakfast together, and then we get to supplement that with some off the field hanging out, and just three really, really great human beings that I don't just trust on the field. I would trust them with my life off the field. It's a pretty cool room that we have.
Josh, I think you said on the first day of camp that if you want to get better at football, this is the place you need to be. How in the last 2.5 weeks do you feel like your team has gotten better at football?
Yeah, I think we've come together pretty well. I think what our defense is doing right now is it's going to be pretty tough for quarterbacks and opposing offenses. Guys are flying around. They know their assignments. And then offensively, again, just adding the pieces that we've gotten over this offseason and just trying to get them up to speed with us. And just trying to go out there and play our best ball.
Who stood out to you on the defense as you've gone up against them during camp?
Matt Milano looks pretty dang good. He's flying around. He's Christian Benford, obviously, I think is one of the premier cornerbacks in the league and doesn't get talked about enough. But I think he likes it that way. And I think AJ Epinesa, Greg Rousseau, they've had pretty good camps as well. Thank you.
There's Josh Allen earlier today, right after practice, final practice at St. John Fisher University as Bill's training camp now shifts gears back to Orchard Park.
Hitting all the right notes with James Cook, right?
Got his back.
Yeah.
Got his back. And, for as much of a distraction as it might seem, I don't know that it's that big of a distraction within the locker room. I think everybody understands what it is. It's not like Cook is absent. He's there.
He's there. We didn't learn this. So the walkthroughs, if you didn't know this, they do around 6 p.m. a walkthrough it's closed to the public. It's closed to the media. James Cook's been out there every evening. These are non-contact things. The way I describe it is, okay, here are your dance moves. You literally step through the play.
Mental reps.
That's all it is.
Yep.
And James Cook is out there for that, which is not putting any tax on his body.
And I also think, for all the talk that's been made of Cole Bishop missing time with the injury, the quad injury, when you see him at practice, he is participating in those mental reps, those first team mental reps. It feels, I can't remember which one of our insiders told us that they feel like it's a lock that Cole Bishop is going to be out there week one alongside Taylor Rapp.
It was Chris Brown yesterday, because comparing to what he was going through last year, scapula, ooh, that fracture, that's tough to come back from. This is a quad, soft tissue, but you don't want to push it, certainly at this point of camp.
So that was it. That was Buffalo Bills training camp. We hear from Josh Allen, and they pull up stakes and move on to the preseason opener coming up Saturday afternoon. You'll hear the action on the Fan. Rochester. Our coverage starts at 11, kickoff at 1 from Highmark Stadium.
Highmark Stadium. What Gosh, now the deluge begins, Danger. It's not just the Bills and the Giants. We get 3 games tonight. We get more on Friday.
I'm excited. It's garage season. I mean, the projector is on. The cold ones are flowing. We've got late games. We got early games. I'm excited for some preseason football.
Travis Hunter is going to play both ways.
Uh-huh.
You got that. You've got Shedeur Sanders starting for the Browns on Friday night against Carolina. And once you know, that's a game we can all watch because they put it on the NFL Network. Don't you want to see? Now, yes, don't overreact to preseason, blah, blah, blah. I just want to see flashes. For example, last year, Caleb Williams. Still don't know if he's going to be a good quarterback. Let's be honest. However, first game, he's rolling to his right against the Bills. On the run, bam.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an NFL arm. Okay.
We haven't seen that.
There's something there. Do we get a play like that from Shedeur Sanders tomorrow night? That's all I'm asking for.
That's what you're looking for. Tonight, Anthony Richardson. What's left? I shouldn't say what's left with Anthony Richardson. I think Anthony Richardson still has some game.
I think Anthony Richardson, it's the curse of Josh Allen. Like, you look at the size, you look at the physical gifts, and, look what happened with Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And this hasn't happened. And you could say, well, it's the makeup. And if you think I'm being harsh on that, this guy, Richardson, tapped out of a game.
Are you going to do the work in the offseason to improve your accuracy, your mechanics, everything that we see Josh Allen or have seen Josh Allen do season in, season out? To get to the level that he's at right now, to get to that MVP level, he might be a unicorn, but a lot of that is self-imposed. A lot of that is because he did the extra work, and it's not easy for everybody to do the extra things that Josh Allen has done to get to where he is. Anthony Richardson starting tonight for the Colts, but we'll certainly see Daniel Jones. I believe we'll see Daniel Jones.
We should.
He's healthy. That's intriguing to me as well. What does Daniel Jones have left to offer? Does he look like he's even interested in being a starting quarterback in the NFL? Because for as much of a camp battle as I was hoping we would get out of those two in Indianapolis, it sure feels as if it's Richardson's job to lose, and we haven't even seen a preseason game yet.
You were thinking maybe, okay, and a lot of people, who's going to be this year's version of Sam Darnold? Well, Daniel Jones was a logical pick. Was he not? In a winnable division, there's some things there in Indianapolis. And
what if Sam Darnold is this year's version of Sam Darnold?
Right.
Let's face it. He's at a new team, a new system.
By the way, I don't know if he's getting time tonight for Seattle. That's the late game if you want to see old-fashioned AFC West.
Yeah.
Raiders at Seahawks tonight.
Nice-looking uniform combo.
Geno Smith going back to Seattle.
Yeah, nice little uniform combo. I don't know. Will we see Genty? I hope we see Genty. I would imagine we would see Genty, at least for a series.
He's getting positive reviews. This doesn't seem like this is somebody, you played at Boise State.
I need to see it, though. I mean, the way he played the last time we saw him against Penn State.
Dude, what else was on that Boise State offense? I am not going to hold that against him.
I want to see it. I'm not discounting him entirely, but I do want to see it. I'm not going to say that the guy's a freak.
Okay, so everybody knows this might be Mike Danger just planting these seeds of misdirection for a fantasy draft.
I don't know that I'll have an opportunity to draft Ashton Genty in any of my leagues.
I think he's end of first round, right?
I'm trying to think of where I'm slotted. I'm fairly certain in our league here at work I'm slotted 9. Is that true? Am I really slotted 9?
You're slotted 9, yeah.
That's appropriate.
9 times.
Superflex.
Superflex.
He'll be there and coming back around the second round.
Yeah, second round. First round in my home league, and then or first overall in my home league, and then picking 5th in the Goomball League. You've heard me talk about my neighborhood before, right?
Who won the Goomball League?
Richie C won the Goomball League, Gene, because he's Italian.
Should have I asked Ryan Talbot if he was excited to see Jackson Dart. I'm excited to see Tommy Cutlets.
Of course.
Yeah, I don't
Tommy
need
DeVito.
Hey.
Forget about it. What you are, Russell Wilson. You want James Winston? Forget about it. You got Tommy Cutlets. He's going to play on Saturday because he's Italian. They better have Cutlets in the M&T Club Saturday. That's all I know.
Do they require NFL head coaches to shake hands in a preseason game when it's done?
You think there's still some bad blood between
Oh,
Daboll and...
hell yes.
Yeah.
Those two men hate each other.
Wow. So fun.
That was as...
It was icy.
Oh.
It was icy.
Yeah.
And let's face it, Daboll, I mean...
There's one guy run up the score on Saturday.
His fortunes as head coach of that team really changed, I think, in that Bills game. The way he presented in that Bills game, that loss to the Bills, and they could have won that game. But Tyrod was sloppy.
That was that's Daboll. He runs very, very hot. However, like you had Ken Dorsey, remember this man? You can't be that way as an NFL head coach. Not in front of the cameras, not to your quarterback.
Yeah, you have to be presidential. You have to be presidential. You know what else happens this time of year? Inevitably, we see the head coaches on the sideline, and some of them are hard to recognize. How much weight has Brian Daboll lost? Like, it's, during the offseason, how much weight do these guys, was Andy Reid, has he lost any weight? I doubt it. But, some of these guys don't look recognizable after a while. Mike McCarthy, well, he was always
I thought maybe you were just going for, who's that guy in Jacksonville? Oh, that's Liam Cohen. Okay. I'm not used to seeing these guys.
What am I even talking about now? The NFL teams only hire guys that look like they came off the cover of GQ moving forward. It's not like you're going to get a bunch of schlubby Andy Reids moving forward.
Maybe the world needs more schlubby Andy Reids. I
wouldn't be opposed to it.
More teams going away to camp and more schlubby guys.
I wouldn't be opposed to it. I really wouldn't be. When they interview the head coach and he admits that his BMI is pudding, let's get more of those guys on the sideline, more guys with character instead of the models off of the GQ runway. Happy hour is next in the sports bar. We got a round of shots. We have last call where you can have the final word at 866-4326. Feel free to join us. We'll recap everything from today's practice. We heard from Sean McDermott earlier today. We heard from Josh Allen, as you just heard, and we'll recap all of it as Buffalo Bills training camp has come to a close at St. John Fisher University, and the scene now shifts to Orchard Park. We're here for all of it. Happy hour next on the Fan Rochester.
92.2 Rochester. And streaming online and in the Odyssey app at The Fan Rochester. The sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. The Fan Rochester. Sports Update.
It's the annual bittersweet day here in Rochester as the Buffalo Bills leave our town heading back down the thruway. The team breaking camp today at Fisher. James Cook once again not on the field as his hold-in continues. Sean McDermott says that Josh Allen will not play in preseason game number 1 against the Giants. Allen reviewing the past few weeks at Fisher.
I think we've come together pretty well. I think what our defense is doing right now is it's going to be pretty tough for quarterbacks and opposing offenses. Guys are flying around. They know their assignments. And then offensively, again, just adding the pieces that we've gotten over this offseason and just trying to get them up to speed with us. Yeah, and just trying to go out there and play our best ball.
Bills and Giants, 11 a.m. for our coverage Saturday here on the Fan Rochester. NFL tonight, 3 preseason games. Colts and Ravens on the NFL Network. Red Wings lose in Norfolk today, 9-8. Gene Battaglin, sports leader, the Fan Rochester.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amherst. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
It is happy hour in the sports bar. Danger and Battaglia. Glad you're with us and listening along at 95.7 FM, AM 950. Odyssey app, iHeartRadio, tune in, YouTube, Twitch. We stream live every afternoon from 3 until 6. Follow our channels at The Fan Rochester. I'm Danger. That's Battaglia.
Yeah, we're back in studio. Years ago, we used to do this right at Fisher, and what was the point? The team had been gone by this point for 4 hours.
It was depressing.
Yeah,
it was like post-apocalyptic. It was like Fallout. It was like there's nothing left. All that's left is a wrapper. Yeah,
nothing.
Like tumbleweeds, across the street. Just it's sad. It's a sad day. But you know what? If you had to rank Bills training camps, this is one of the best ones I can remember, Gino. Everything just kind of felt like I know that there are injuries. I know that there's the James Cook saga, but as far as just the overall energy and vibes. The juice was there. And number one reason is, hey, this is a team that was just kind of a few plays away from the Super Bowl last year. And you would think they've made improvements, and here they are, and let's explore this together. Number 2 is having the Hard Knock cameras around. And then seeing that, and seeing our town on that, seeing Pittsford. I mean, if you're a Bills fan, excited. People outside the area, I heard from Binkley last night, mocking this, calling boring.
It boring. Okay, fine. Maybe it's not for you. I think episode 2 is going to have a much different tone. That's just kind of what I'm guessing here. But Danger, it did have the juice, and this is a team that certainly has some question marks going, moving forward. Today was a weird beginning because Sean McDermott, when asked, does he expect James Cook to be out there, he answered the question yes from Lena Getzenberg.
We move forward. Yeah, we move forward. It's an opportunity for somebody else to step up, show us what they've got, and the team moves forward. That's the nature of the business. You get these reminders from time to time that it is a business, and but at the same time, we've got to move forward as a football team, and that's on an individual basis and a team basis. So we care for Jimbo, we care for him and his family, and we look forward to having him back.
That was after he said, yes, I expect him to practice.
Yes, I expect him, and then he couched it that he expects every player, even the ones that are injured, to be trying to make an attempt. So, okay, he didn't get over his skis. It could be just as simple as James Cook didn't communicate to him whatever the plan was this morning.
I think Sean McDermott is getting better at his messaging, by the way. I know that we've had fun with him in the past, and he's certainly still prone to coach speak.
Well, when we get into regular season mode.
Mm-hmm.
He
said something interesting, though, and I heard Jeremy and Joe talking about it this morning, talking about the team's mindset going into the season, that they just have to go in knowing that they're a good team. Like they can't carry a chip on their shoulder. They can't go in thinking they don't have that underdog mentality. Do you remember when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl and Travis Kelce said, nobody believed in us. Nobody thought we could. Like, shut up.
BS.
Shut up.
BS.
Everybody knew you were going to be there, and nobody didn't. You weren't. You're not a victim, and nobody doubted you. So stop it with that. Now, with the Bills, they've been good now. Good to great for such a long time with Bean and McDermott and Josh Allen that it's hard for them to carry a chip on their shoulder.
Well, I think what McDermott and Bean, for that matter, they're looking at this big picture. And just hear me out. He said in our interview with him, and if you missed that, you can find that on demand yesterday. Yes, we had Sean McDermott on with us. He brought up Scotty Scheffler. Scotty Scheffler, before the Open overseas, talking about, hey, it's great to win a major, and it's great for just a couple of hours, and then you've got to climb the mountain back up again. And it's like that in the NFL, not talking about a championship, but winning a game and then winning a playoff game, and then here we are again. So if you can just kind of focus big picture here, Brandon Bean has described it a different way, that, hey, we're going to keep knocking on the door. We're going to keep knocking on the door, and one of these days it's going to bust open.
Yeah, the Scheffler piece is interesting, and I love that McDermott brought that up. I mean, I think the guys that are ultra competitive, the cleaners, as I like to call them, the Jordans, the Kobes, the Tiger Woods, they aren't satisfied with just winning one. They're obsessed with winning. They're obsessed with getting after it. And Scheffler feels like that kind of guy that's like, yeah, I don't wish this on anybody because as soon as I win, I'm on to the next one. I can't even really enjoy the win. And that's the price to pay for being really, really good. The Bills are good to great almost consistently, and they can't go in to this season as underdogs. Some people didn't have them winning the division last year, so they could play with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. They've got the MVP behind center, and nobody is saying that they're not going to win the division this year. So how do you motivate yourself? I think you just have to take the approach of, we know we're good. We play with the confidence.
Right. And I haven't heard McDermott or anybody say this, but one of the all-time greats for the Buffalo Bills, I didn't even know he was out there. Sometimes there are players or people watching practice. Thurman was out there last week. Learned that from Hard Knocks. And then when Thurman in that says 1 seed, I'm like, ha-ha, yes, yes. Foot on the pedal.
Thurman listens to the sports bar. Thanks for listening, Thurman.
It's also a glimpse, that anecdote that we wrap up our interview with Sean, and we're shaking his hand and thanking him for his time. And if you're savvy enough, you might be able to see our broadcast location, as one woman did, and she's within earshot. And she's the only one around. Sean, we love you. Thank you, Coach. God bless you, Coach. Just screaming like, okay, that's very nice. And he says that, thank you, thank you. Here comes the kicker. Please bring us a Super Bowl. Ma'am, I'm working on it.
That's it.
Don't say that to a player or a coach. I know that's what you want. That's what everybody in this region wants. You don't have to deal with that if you're in other NFL markets. Trust me.
Yeah, it reminds me of Friday Night Lights. You remember the book that became the movie, that became the series, and it's all about the just the fanatical behavior behind high school football in small town Texas. And being a coach, that kind of comes with the territory. I imagine Sean McDermott has to hear that when he's out in public. He maybe doesn't hear that when he's out in the neighborhood, the people that are closest to him. They're certainly not putting that heat on him or asking him questions that he can't answer or doesn't want to talk about because he's off the clock. But I imagine if Sean McDermott has to make a run somewhere and gets recognized, yeah, win a Super Bowl for us, Coach. Go get him. Go get him. Good luck, Coach. Even a good luck, Coach. An acknowledgement, while you might appreciate that, I would also imagine it probably gets old after a while. That's where they are, man. The vibes were immaculate at training camp this year. Better than I think I've ever seen. Josh Allen couldn't have handled himself better on and off the field. There's so many different opportunities and clips, and you'll see footage of Josh doing amazing things with fans throughout the course of the last 2.5 weeks.
So if you watch Hard Knocks, the first episode, they're showing Josh Allen. It's a big old net that has targets.
Yeah.
They were doing that today in the backfield. And I'm like, okay, let me watch Josh Allen. 1. This is like 20 yards up. 1, 2, 3.
Missiles.
Accuracy.
Yeah.
How this guy, I mean, we take this for granted. This guy, when he came in, he's not accurate. Oh, look at that footwork. Name me a more accurate quarterback that can do that right now in this league.
He's throwing darts. He's throwing missiles. Meanwhile, the quarterback of the Bears throws tantrums better than he throws a football. Same exercise, same drill. He came out and addressed it today. He said that it was just having a friendly competition with the other quarterbacks, and he was just overreacting to not getting. If that's, and I will buy that. I will buy that. I just want to see it in the game. Show me accuracy in the game. I will buy that.
I don't know, crying after a loss to mommy. Sorry, buddy. I'm like, that's like,
it's
it's
not
the
great.
makeup. No,
Not a great look.
USC, UCLA. That was a tough one.
Not a great look.
That's a tough one.
The Bills will take the field on Saturday, 1 o'clock. We'll have the action for you on the Fan Rochester at Highmark Stadium. No Josh Allen in the game. As we heard from Sean McDermott and Josh Allen earlier today. Josh Allen just following orders, not really something that, if he was asked to play, he would play. Coach says, I'm not playing, so I'm not playing. And then, of course, the James Cook situation. He was not practicing with the team today. Sean McDermott with the latest.
We move forward. Yeah, we move forward. It's an opportunity for somebody else to
I already
step
played
up.
that, Gino. I apologize. I'm getting foggy.
Camp brain.
Yeah, I do have camp brain. We're back in the studio. I wanted to say Sean McDermott also addressing some of the injuries, specifically, and we've spent some time talking about whether or not Khalil Shakir comes back. We had Thad Brown on with us earlier. Whether or not Khalil Shakir comes back for week 1. Do you put him out there week 1 as he's recovering from a high ankle sprain? Sean McDermott on his wide receiver.
Does Khalil's injury feel like something that should have him back before the regular season? Do you think that he will be available when you guys are ready to go?
Yeah, that's what I'm being told. He's dealt with this before. It just takes some time to get back. The thing that makes me a little bit at ease with that situation is his rapport with Josh, and Khalil is such a professional that I don't worry at all about his hunger to return or his ability to find ways to get himself back and up to speed as quickly as possible.
Do we need to see Josh Allen at all this preseason? We're not going to see Khalil Shakir. I assume we won't see James Cook. We don't need to see Josh Allen.
Normally, I would be like, yeah, we got to see some reps. Yeah, we got to give him some reps.
Nope.
But this year,
Nope.
I'm like, nah,
Nope.
I don't think so.
Nope.
And for Shakir, to Shakir's credit, I mean, yesterday I noticed he and a couple of other injured Bills doing the work. I mean, they're working with trainers. They're throwing the medicine ball around, and they're doing the work. He's wearing the boot. He's wearing the walking boot. I would imagine that they have a plan that will get him ready to go for week 1. And yeah, I'm with you. I'd be fine if we didn't see Josh Allen at all this preseason. Normally, I would be, maybe a series, just to be sure. No. And I don't know what's different about this year other than he's coming off an MVP season. But it felt like from day 1 of camp, the Bills were already at an advantage over the rest of the league.
What's different this year? This time last year, we were really questioning how does this offense look with Diggs out of it?
Yeah.
And the answer is, with Diggs out of it, Josh Allen took his game to an MVP level.
Right.
So if Josh Allen, you use the word slappy, okay? Average guy is what I would say. Mac Hollins is Mr. Average Guy, yet you made him the team leader in touchdown receptions. If Josh Allen could do that with Mac freaking Hollins, love the guy, but my gosh, you don't think you can do that with Josh Palmer or anybody else?
Yeah, it's refreshing to know when you're watching the Bills day 1 of training camp, they are doing things that other teams can't get to until maybe the week before. Therefore, you have a 1 to 2 week advantage just because you're so you have that continuity. You're so already in line. I mean, if the biggest concern you have going into this season is the chemistry between Josh Allen and Josh Palmer, I think we're going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll figure that out. I think that, that they'll be okay. If the injuries are a concern, yes. Khalil Shakir, I think, will be ready week 1. What do you do with Curtis Samuel? I love the idea of moving off of that guy.
How?
You entice a team with the cap space, make that trade, somebody who needs a wide receiver, and there are teams that could use some wide receivers.
You're willing to say flip. You're willing to move back 2 rounds in the NFL draft? Like, for what? Like, that would be the only thing. Like, okay, that savings by moving that base, we're going to go spend it somewhere else. Like, it'll become your emergency fund. At this point, Danger, it's a terrible contract. We don't talk enough about this. Like, the dead cap for Curtis Samuel, we cut him $12 million. All right.
No, you're not cutting him.
You're trading him.
You have to. That's the out.
All right. So the best case, the only way in this scenario is he's healthy next week, Sunday Night Football in Chicago. There he is. My gosh, he's making plays. Next day, bye.
Right.
And but again, it's one of those inverted trades where we're gonna just take a 7th round pick and you get a 4th.
What do how much do you value the cap space if you're Brandon Beane right now? And, I brought it up earlier with Ryan Talbot, who joined us last hour. If you're Josh Allen, how badly do you want Jimbo Fisher? Would you rather have James Cook? James Cook? Jimbo Cook.
Jimbo Fisher.
What the hell am I talking about? Dude, I need a cold one. Maybe I don't. James Cook. How badly do you want James Cook? Would you sacrifice your buddy, your backup quarterback?
Well, I don't think Brandon Beane, like you and I would look at that like, okay, let's bridge the gap. And the backup quarterback, if the Bills have to rely on, what's the magic number that would be? If it's 6 to 8 weeks you're without Josh Allen, we got problems.
Oh,
okay?
yeah.
Okay.
Season's over.
So really, you just backup quarterback 4 games with Mike White. Could you win 2 of the 4? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
When Mitch Trubisky, you win 2 of the 4. So what's the difference between the two?
I don't know if there is other than
No, I'll answer the question. The difference is that Mike White is making less money.
Right. Yes. And Trubisky is, by all reports, closer to Josh. They're buddies.
Yeah. Mike White is closer to the offensive coordinator.
Sure.
Yeah.
What about Curtis Samuel? If would you rather have Curtis Samuel or would you rather extend Jimbo? Would you rather extend?
See what you did. Jimbo was holding out at Fisher.
Yeah.
Jimbo Fisher is not James Cook.
I know. I thank you for get out of my brain, Gene, because it's dark and scary place.
I was trying to figure it out there. You can write to. You can call us 866-4FAN 866-4326. Steve with a nice note. Yet another outstanding guys that defies the size of this market. Thank you all.
Wow. I haven't got that call from the network yet. Have you?
I just like a call from Buffalo. Or somewhere.
Here we are.
Here we are in Rochester.
Just a secondary market to a secondary market. Outkicking our coverage in every element of our life. Thank you for the kind words, Steve.
Not going anywhere. It was a joke, everyone. It was a joke.
Speak for yourself.
Thank you, Steve.
And by the way, we'll have some of that Sean McDermott footage to share for you on social media. Follow us on all of our platforms. Our YouTube channel has been great, by the way.
I just shared the clip where Sean McDermott talking about how he's a hot yoga guy.
Okay, so I know how you feel about this. You and I feel differently about this.
Danger, I can't knock it until I try it, but the way that the shape that I'm in, or more accurately, I'm not in, I don't know when I would ever be trying hot yoga.
I've done yoga. I like yoga. I don't do it frequently. I don't do it with any sort of regularity, but the times that I've done it, I've really enjoyed it, and I know what the benefits are of it. Hot yoga just feels like it might be a little too much. Maybe not for me. But hearing the Sean McDermott, I got to respect it. I got to respect it. That's psycho. I got to respect it. doing yoga in 100+ degree heat. I think all I can do is respect it. Good on you, Coach. Hot yoga. And his Sean McDermott smoothie. What did you call it? The Sean smoothie?
Yeah.
That they make special for him every morning? We learned that he has the RA suite.
That was the one. Yeah, with the broken chair that didn't go out.
Yeah. Wonder how plush that is. You know, my wife's college friends were all hanging out last week, and they went back to Brockport. Went back to the alma mater.
Mm-hmm.
We're just walking around campus showing the kids, and they're like, "Oh, there's the dorm that we were all roommates in. Happened to be open." They went up.
Oh, boy.
They looked at their old dorm rooms. They looked at their old view. They looked at everything.
Did they sit around? Did they get out the the wine coolers? What is it?
Yeah, right.
I don't even.
The
I know your
Zimas
wife-
and the Bartles and James.
Your wife.
The Boone's Farm.
Your wife does not imbibe, but I would have to think the other ladies in that group were.
Oh, I'm sure they had their fun in college. Yeah. So being in that dorm made me think to myself, and we got to see some of it on Hard Knocks, of course, but I'm like, yeah, for an NFL player, this would be a rough look.
I did that a couple of years ago. They're even like, ugh, how did we do this? We like this?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah, no, it was kind of that they want to show you what you're gonna. Like, here's your little tiny room. By the way, media members staying in dorm rooms. What are you doing? You can commute.
I mean, some have. I don't know who I think are crazier, the ones that commute or the ones that stay in the dorm. I know that some will go away on an off day and come back and then stay if it's consecutive days. I think that's probably the play.
I would think that it's probably the play to get a dorm room because you've got to do some work. That's it. Shut the door, get to work.
Hey, and Catherine Fitzgerald painted a nice picture of their little Hard Knocks watch party.
Yeah.
All get together like they're in college
they
and
got
just
some subs and
get some snacks and watch Hard Knocks in the dorms. That sounds fun. Alas, we have to wait another 12 months, and we feel confident, whereas in years past maybe we didn't. We feel confident that Buffalo Bills training camp will return to Pittsford in 2026.
When do we get that announcement?
It's going to be a long-term deal.
Yeah. Do we have to wait until March for this? I would hope not.
I would say next spring. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next
probably.
Spring. They have other things to attend to right now. New stadium opening up, Super Bowl aspirations, week 1, prime time.
Well, you and I were talking to somebody in the Bills organization, and we got to stop a little short here, but they're talking about how can we improve the camp experience, meaning can we take the Buffalo Bills brand and move it beyond the borders of Fisher? Are there other events that we could do? For example, and they didn't bring this up in particular, but does everybody remember this? They used to have a parade in downtown Pittsburgh.
I remember that.
Downtown Pittsburgh, like right down there,
Main Street.
Yeah, like, hey, everybody, it's Rex Ryan waving to the crowd. Like it's crazy to think that that's how people, but are there other things? And they're thinking of ways in which they can actually bring Bills closer to everybody beyond the borders.
It's crazy how many people didn't get to see all of the action at training camp that would have loved to have just been to one practice, just one.
Danger, I'm not lying. It's for something that is free. Camp tickets are free. You can't put them up online. I had more requests. I'm like,
Same.
I'm sorry, I can't fulfill them.
Same. So maybe it is. Maybe it's an extension of camp or an event that happens outside of camp in our community that gets you more access to the players. It might not get you access to a practice, but most of the time people just seek out the players and want to be around the players.
Can you do something with the alumni? Bills alumni, things like that, things that you can center on them. I would just keep that in the back of your mind.
Here's my idea. I'll just throw this out there. What if we did a Bills town hall before training camp, and we invited some Bills alumni? We did a panel, and we opened it up to questions, and we had a full audience of however many. I don't know what theater. Would the theater around there somewhere in Pittsburgh somewhere we could do it at St. John Fisher, anywhere where you could open it up to questions, almost like how they do Mafia Con the weekend before, something along those lines.
I would think Mafia Con is in Buffalo. That's
Yes.
great.
Yes.
No, I would just say no. Like, think Mafia Con, but in Rochester.
For real.
Yeah, that's what would have to happen. Like, where yes, you would have a Q&A, you would have meet and greets, you'd have merch, all that stuff that people kind of love. Food.
You have Ty Johnson selling his clothing line.
My gosh, it was such a long camp that like I'd forgotten that we were talking to him about his business endeavor.
We got to get to a round of shots in the sports bar on the way next.
We do. As other things happening, the quest for greatness is still going on with the Colorado Rockies.
Oh, my
Major.
God.
Oh, boy.
This team. Oh, my God. 20-1?
Mm-hmm. Historic. We're all in on the Rockies. Why the Saints tanking, or they say they're not. That might not be the plan. Arch Manning speaking did not get to this. And there's an NFL great that's teasing a return.
Oh.
I don't know. They put this out there.
I don't want to hear again from Tom Brady.
It's not Tom Brady. It's not Tom Brady, but we'll explain.
All right. Round of shots on the way. And last call, where you can have the final word in the sports bar when you join us at 866-4326, 585-866-4FAN.
Sports Update.
The Bills' time at St. John Fisher in 2025 came to an end today. The team breaking camp from practice this morning. James Cook once again not out there as the hold-in continues. Sean McDermott saying that Josh Allen will not play against the Giants.
The benefit of this is we hold Josh out. We keep him in a good spot. He's been playing extremely well in camp. You guys have been out here. And then we get a chance to look at Mitch and some of the other quarterbacks and real game live action with the ones, in this case, for Mitch.
Bills and Giants, 11 a.m. for our pregame coverage this Saturday here on the Fan Rochester. NFL tonight, got 3 preseason games, including the Colts and the Ravens. That's on the NFL Network. Rochester Red Wings are down 9-1 today. A rally falls just short, 9-8 the final in Norfolk. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, the Fan Rochester.
Listen to 95.7 The Fan Rochester on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps, and take the sports leader with you everywhere you go.
Back in the sports bar, happy hour continues. Danger and Battaglia, we do a round of shots.
I hope the Saints weren't banking on drafting Arch Manning in 2026. I mean, sure, he could come out, and sure, the Saints, logical to think they'll be picking number 1 overall. But a reliable source doesn't think that Arch Manning will be into it, says Grandpa, former Saints quarterback Archie Manning. Archie, I asked if his son will declare, quote, Arch isn't going to do that. He'll be at Texas.
There's a tradition in that family. They finish school.
All of them did.
They finished school. And so, and especially now, given the state of college athletics, I mean, if you're Arch Manning, you're not going to be, if all things are equal, you're making good money playing quarterback at the University of Texas.
You're making good money, and let's be honest, something has gone wrong if Texas doesn't make the playoff this year or next.
Agreed. So that's, I'll just continue to say it. I think maybe it's a long form tank by the Saints. Maybe it's the 2-year Kellen Moore experience that fails, and then they bring home Arch. That I still love, how I love narrative in the NFL. I love the idea of Arch Manning playing for the Saints. That would be,
well, they would love it down there, right?
They would eat it up. They would eat it all up. And I know this is something you mentioned. Could you imagine if it goes badly this year and next year, 2 years? They bring in Saban.
Right.
They bring in Saban.
Like if Saban all of a sudden shows up.
Yeah. Saban shows up in New Orleans. Arch Manning shows up as your quarterback. And now you've got a fan base that is reinvigorated. I mean, they're always engaged. But the Saints now in the post-Sean Payton era feel kind of like the Bills were for the drought era, right? Like they're not really... They'll win a few games. Maybe they shouldn't win, but they're not really going anywhere.
What's the match?
Who's your quarterback?
What if they win 5 games this year?
Who's your quarterback? Like Tyler Shuck? Get out of here. So long form tank. That's what the Saints are.
Yeah, good job by Joe Brady avoiding that too. Imagine this: former Rams defensive tackle Aaron Donald, future Hall of Famer, suggesting he would consider making a comeback if the Rams traded for Micah Parsons. In an Instagram comment, Donald writing that he might have to get into football shape. Parsons responded by saying, "Don't tell me info like that," and tagging his agent there. It's all kind of imaginary, but
I wouldn't. Nothing would shock me with Aaron Donald. The guy probably already is still in great football shape and could probably bench press a Volkswagen if you asked him to.
So we did have like one defensive superstar actually hold out into week 1. That was Chris Jones a few years ago.
Sure.
He signed right before, but they not in time to get him active. Then do you see the Parsons thing bleeding over into the regular season?
Sure. Yeah,
I do too.
I don't think there's a certainty that he'll have this done by week 1. I absolutely see that happening. And as far as Donald goes, that guy probably is still in football shape. Yesterday the Bussin' with the Boys guys were at camp, and
I did not recognize.
I almost didn't recognize Taylor Lewan. The dude, I mean, you remember Taylor Lewan, offensive lineman for the Titans. He always gave the Bills. He was always chirpy. He was very.
He was a mouth. Yeah,
he was very chippy and very chirpy. And the dude in his post-football playing career. He is leaned out. He looks like a big man from an NBA team now more than he does a former lineman. And very much like Eric Wood.
Eric Wood, right.
Same deal if you want to bring it close to home. Kind of remarkable what these guys do and how they kind of, when they're done playing football, they get into better shape if that's possible. But, like, they're carrying all that extra weight as players.
It's not healthy to carry around 300 pounds.
Right.
Yeah, so good on Eric Wood and good on Taylor Lewan because, right, like you said, I wouldn't have any idea if he wasn't walking around with his guys there.
Look great.
Good to see. Check that. Great to see the Colorado Rockies, stop winning games and revert to form.
That's right.
In a 3-game series against Toronto. Here were the final scores. All Jays wins, 15-1, 10-4, and to cap it off, 20-1. In total, Colorado gave up 63 base hits. That is the most since 1900 in a 3-game sweep.
My God.
The Rockies at 30-84. They need to win 12 more games in order to break the White Sox mark of futility at 41-121. Now, if we do the average here, Danger, we can afford to give the Rockies 1 win a week. Can they do it?
So they would need to only win 1 game a week between here and the end of the season, and they could break that White Sox record. I got to imagine they're going to win more than 1 game a week for the rest of the season. Get just 1. They'd have to go on a pretty bad tear down the stretch here.
Well, they get the Diamondbacks who kind of sold the farm there.
Yeah,
like that. That's going to be 2 of that's 6 games over the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
Well, we get the Dodgers.
Feels like a loss.
Oh, 3 for the Pirates. You get the Astros.
Oh, see, there's some
Astros, Cubs, Giants, Padres, Dodgers again, Padres.
Okay.
Marlins, who are
they're farting around.
Farting around.
Yeah.
Angels.
Terrible.
We'll get to them in a second. The Mariners, and then the Giants again.
It's not inconceivable.
No, that Padres.
I would say that if you're the Padres, the Dodgers, the Padres, the Cubs, any of the contending teams that you just mentioned, there's no victory in winning the series against.
No, if
you sweep.
If you lose against the Rockies, you are eliminated from postseason competition. Right?
You sweep.
Yeah.
And if you could do it the way the Jays just did it, even better. Like who in Toronto isn't feeling great about the Jays going into the postseason after they just saw what they did to a minor league ball club? That's amazing. I saw 20-1. I'm like, Jesus, relegation in Major League Baseball. It needs to happen.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, the Angels, by the way, they had a game yesterday, post-game press conference, and all of a sudden the ceiling kind of burst through with water.
Hate when that happens.
Yeah, they have to move it to another room. We have our second arrest. This in connection to the trend of adult toys being thrown on the court during a WNBA game.
So glad we're following up on this story.
It's news that people want.
Uh-huh.
By the way, this crossed over into like news. Like this is on all the networks. Like this is a big deal.
Everybody just can't wait to talk about people throwing dongs onto a basketball court.
Now, this arrest happened in Phoenix. Now, Phoenix wasn't one of the 3 places that actually landed on the court. We've had other ones that landed short. This one landed a few rows ahead in front of a 9-year-old girl.
Oops.
18-year-old Caden Lopez has been charged with suspicion of disorderly conduct, assault, and public display of explicit sexual material.
And to punish Caden Lopez, authorities have forced him to go to 10 more WNBA
I knew
games.
that, dude. That was a Brian Leaf interception. You telegraphed that one.
You set me up, I'd knock him down.
And they're all the same color too, which is
right. They're all going to Toys of Eros and getting it from Jordan Hudson's mom. They must sell them in bulk.
A security guard for the Miami Heat accused of stealing hundreds of pieces of memorabilia. Marcos Thomas Perez alleged to take 400 game-worn jerseys and sell them online. He's been doing this for years. How did he get away with it? He did it this way. Underselling the value. For example, NBA Final LeBron James game-worn jersey. He sold it for $100,000. A few years later, Sotheby's auctioned off for $3.7 million. Perez himself totaled about $2 million in the stolen merch, according to the authorities.
I'm always fascinated by the economy of sports memorabilia. It is crazy. The guys that have the kind of wealth where they can just throw it around for a game worn this or it's autographed this, needs to be authenticated. Is it real? Is it counterfeit? I don't know. Oh, a guy who had all counterfeits, that sold counterfeits on eBay and made millions. You know, he got busted. He was going to go do time. He killed himself instead. Like, I hear these stories all the time, and I just think to myself, this is all based off of the performance of the guys that we watch on Sunday, the guys that we watch at the plate during baseball season. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me how fanatical we are. I'm not saying it's a negative. It's just interesting.
Is it that, or is it I have a yacht. I have a summer home. This is my status. Come look at my collection. Me. You feel more self-worth if somehow you have a LeBron James thing hanging.
I guess. I mean, I can't. I'd be hypocritical. Like, I only have like 20 bottles of bourbon. I know that there's a lot of people that be like, my bourbon collection is hundreds of bottles of this and this. Like, I don't want to be extreme.
But that's personal to you, right?
It is, sure. But I mean, so I don't want to say that that's a bad thing, that if you have the means and you love LeBron James and you want to spend six figures on a game-worn jersey, you do you. I just find it fascinating, especially when you consider the economy that is attached to every player.
Right.
If LeBron James flamed out 3 or 4 years into his NBA career, you know, the stuff that everybody thought was going to be worth something is worth nothing. Josh Allen, you can't touch now. But Josh Allen early, if you bought in on Josh Allen early, yeah, a lot of the Josh Allen memorabilia merchandise you have now is pretty valuable. Can't really get his stuff anymore. It's just fascinating. That world is very fascinating to me. The economy of sports memorabilia is fascinating.
It's only going to get crazier too.
Oh, for sure.
I don't think we're going to have this bubble at any point here.
No, for sure. That's a round of shots. We welcome you in for last call, 866-4326. If you want to have the final word in the sports bar before we get you ready for your Friday, 585-866-4FAN. Look at Gino and I. We're reviewing game film from training camp off air.
Let's talk about this.
Looking back at some of our conversations. And I just saw, just because it's fresh in my mind, right before we jumped back on the air, our conversation from yesterday with Sean McDermott, and asked him what his expectations were for Trey White, because it's fresh off of this performance on Hard Knocks, and everybody kind of saw him at training camp look amazing for the 2.5 weeks he was here.
I think the way I phrased the question, hey, it's somebody that was an all-pro, and now he's coming back in a different role. What does that say about the culture? And he talked about it's great, but we need to manage expectations for Trey White.
Yeah.
Why?
Manage expectations.
Why? He's a veteran.
Right.
Like, why can't he be a really sound – I'm not expecting – not saying all pro, but why can't he have kind of a renaissance here in Buffalo?
I think when he says manage expectations – Trey White is going to be out there. He's going to play, but he's not going to be immune from getting torched. That could happen. He's looked great in practice.
It could be that, or we drafted Maxwell Harrison that covers Xavier Worthy and Jamar Chase.
Part two. Yes, exactly right. I mean, they went for a specific skill in the draft. They went for speed. They got the fastest guy at the combine, and they got that guy to cover a Xavier Worthy, a Jamar Chase. We already know Trey White's not going to be able to keep up with those guys if they get behind him. So Max Harrison is going to be the guy. Eventually, we got to get through this rough patch here with the injury. Certainly missing the reps in the preseason is not going to help him when we get to games that count. But manage expectations on Trey White. I mean, I had nothing but great things to say about Trey White. The work ethic, the kind of guy he is. But he also said we need to manage those expectations going into the season. So for as good as he looked while he was at St. John Fisher, and we go back and we think, who was this year's camp darling? I present to you Trey White. Trey White was this year's camp darling. Who would have predicted it? Not I. Tomorrow we are back, brand new episode. We will talk to Eric Turner, cover one.
Ooh, this is going to be fun because our eyes tell us one thing. The film tells another. He's got some interesting thoughts on Keon Coleman we'll get to.
I love that. We'll get you one day closer to the Bills' preseason kickoff at home, Highmark Stadium, coming up Saturday afternoon, 1 o'clock, against the New York Giants. JR Sport Brief is next. We will talk to you again tomorrow afternoon, starting at 3 o'clock. Thanks for listening. The Fan Rochester.